We start out on this new road. No turning back. But we have our ancestors with us. We're going to continue to dance with them. Dreaming them. Calling them. Being them. We are becoming what we were.
It is part of the Mayan prophecies.
7 triangles of light.
Keep walking. You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
People who say that the gods made them from corn. They planned their lives according to the heavens. Well versed in astronomy, using a sophisticated mathematics, they calculated the movements of the night sky thousands of years into the past and thousands of years into the future. They knew that the universe moved in cycles. Their lives were ruled by the rhythms of the natural world, planting and harvesting, birth and death, just as the great tree of life emerges from the earth.
Always they're connected. Science and religion.
In dreams, we learn from the Mayan gods when to plant and when to harvest, when to set the fire, and when to do the corn ceremony.
What we're digging up, what we're coming up with is part of our history. And the men that lived here are some of the greatest men we've ever had. And it's a fact that we're getting to know more and more and more about the life of these people.
They still maintain their customs. They still maintain their ways of organizing their societies. And it's very exciting to see how much of the ancient Maya way of life is still alive and well.
American history does not begin in 1492 with Columbus. It begins in 200 BC with the first Maya king who wrote his name on a stone. What is happening now is the people who made these places, people like Yashpak or Bird Jaguar or Pakal, are getting back their voices. They are becoming real to us and speaking to the people of the 20th century about who built this place and why and what they felt and what they thought about the world. These are not anonymous people anymore.
You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
The earliest edict of this kind was the Doom de Versailles, issued by Pope Nicholas V, which gave colonizing Europeans permission directly from God to, quote, capture, vanquish, and subdue the enemies of Christ, to put them into perpetual slavery, and to take all their possessions.
It seems like the trail of tears never ends. The harder the light, the darker the skin. When did this begin? The greed of evil men who happen to have white pale skin. Write down the laws, create the constitutions. We the people, just a pimped out illusion. A trickery of words that deceive the lost herds. But ancient are my people, medicine my words. Cause the gods of time, they write my rhymes. They keep my heart divine so I can see between the lines. The stars are the sign that travel space and time. You can never own my spirit, you will never own my mind.
Descend from my place in the stars. Half Gonzal, half Jack, on my lyrics hit hard. Half Gonzal, half Jack, on my lyrics hit hard. Lyrics hit hard. Lyrics hit hard. Half Gonzal, half Jack, on my lyrics hit hard.
You see the spirits in the wind have a deal with men to never hurt the earth and to always defend. the elders, the children. Sacred is the flower that we call our women. The power of creation, the seventh generation, the carriers of light. They suffered so much through a 500-year night. Raping Spaniards, pedophile priests, manifest destiny, mark of the beast. We seem to have forgotten the Spanish Inquisition when they murdered fucking millions in the name of their religion. Another modern day rendition, but a vaccine inquisition ran by billionaire elites and corrupt politicians. These are the seeds of white supremacy, white superiority over colored majorities. Doctrine of discovery, 1493.
Ghost of the ancient set in the stage set. Ghost of the ancient set in the stage set. Ghost of the ancient set in the stage set. Ghost of the ancient set in the stage set. Into the Vatican, strangle the Pope with a rosary. Into the Vatican, strangle the Pope with a rosary.
Somos agua, somos tierra, somos fuego, somos viento. Este es nuestro rezo, sí, aquí, Chicano, Mexica Connection. Roco Pachicote en la Cali, desde los barrios de Tenochtitlán, México, Los Ángeles, Califastlán, Kiba, Meteo.
Se estudiaron movimientos de los 4 elementos. Se tomaron los momentos para crear estos centros. Que los tiempos ni los vientos poderán con estos templos. Que no vengan con inventos, falsedades y con cuentos. Somos descendientes de una gente inteligente, utilizando siempre mente sabia como serpientes. Sabía toda la gente que no hay nada diferente. Lo que ve, lo que se siente, espíritu presente. Fue invocado, llamado del otro lado, porque todo antepasado lo dejó aquí bien grabado. Que no fuera olvidado y que fuera estudiado. Así todo lo creado sea elevado. Somos gente de ciencia honrando creación. Ciencia y religión siempre tuvo conexión. Y México, el ombligo con la luna. Como esta ciudad no hay ninguna.
Ciudad celestial, corazón del mundo. Ahí es donde nació mi pensamiento profundo. Águila nopal, la voz del jaguar. Te escribo mis letras con pluma de quetzal. Mi mensaje es antiguo, te canto medicina. Yo soy como una espina, difícil de quitar. Yo soy como una rola de maldita vecindad. Enlocando la gente, te abro tu mente. Yo soy descendiente de esta tierra mexicana. Aunque yo vengo del otro lado de Tijuana. La L, la A, Califastlán. Y los que no me crean, mi sangre es mi prueba.
Plazo Camadli, Palemowani, El Vuh en la Cali Corroco, Tonali, from ancestors who are still with us, guide us, unite us, uplift us through a spiral.
Meteo.
LA natives.
LA natives, the whole, once again, we are here.
Can you guys hear us? I just want to do a little mic check, guys. Can you guys hear us? Welcome back.
Welcome back. I want to say welcome back to a very important man to us right now. He's a humble brother. He'll be the first to tell you that all his hard work is done in a good way. I want to introduce my uncle Mazatzin once again to LA natives. How you doing, uncle?
Good to see you again.
Let's throw those earphones on. Put the mic as close as you can, uncle.
with beautiful music.
There we go.
So good to see you. Good to be back here again. Armando, nice to see you again. And of course, Sobrino.
Uncle. Again,
thanks for bringing us back.
Thank you. Thank you for, one, taking the time to come back. And it's an honor because we're going to go over an introduction to the hard work you've been working on for over 25 years. How long already? Around over 25 years, at least 25 years. We're going to go over the basic introduction of the Gran Tonalmachiotl. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let it go to you, and then I'll help you as you go along. But people are hungry. Is everybody hungry? Is everybody ready for the lesson? Because I think, yes. Lower? Okay. Like that.
Is that better?
There you go. Perfect.
Much better. Thank you.
Okay.
First of all, I want to say Tlazokamati Wimiak. Iwan Noyolo Paki Ikwak Nemisita. Iwan Nonchantlaka Nonchansiwat Tlazokamati. I said, my homeboys and my homegirls, thank you for joining us. And that my heart becomes happy when I see you, when I see that we're on here again. We're going to be talking about, some people say I'm a fanatic of this, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But of the great Tonalmachiotl.
Tonalmachiotl.
You know, Tonalmachiotl. So I want to say, Totatsin, Tequitlani Miak Chikawalisli, Iwan Huecuali Tonali, Tlazokamati, Iwan Tonali Sipakli, Tlazokamati. So we're in the day of the crocodile today, okay? And I want to give thanks for that day. Iwan Sempo Wali, Tosostontli. Sempo Wali, the 20-day period.
Right.
Tosostontli. Tosostontli.
Tosostontli.
It means the small vigil for the fertilizing rain. Iwan Tonalpowali, the 13-day period cycles, 13-day cycles, Seakat, one reed. And so on the day the reed began, one reed, this 13-day period, guided by Shaoshiwit Ikwe, the lady of the jade skirts, or the Mother Earth with the waters, all the waters that run horizontally is Shaoshiwit Ikwe. Everything that comes down is Tlaloc. Okay. So it's always going to be like that.
Wow.
The feminine and masculine essence. Shaoshiwitlikwe. Of this, like I said, 20-day, of this new year, because we're barely in the third 20-day period. So we just began the third 20-day period. I can't believe it's gone so fast.
60 days.
Well, actually, we've gone 40. So
40, I'm sorry.
We're on 41.
41.
So we're beginning the third.
Oh, this is the third.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Got it.
Tosostontli. Right there.
Tosostontli.
So you can follow along when you get your poster.
Absolutely.
Follow along on the calendar every day. By the way, excuse me. By the way, these posters are perpetual. You can use them forever and ever. Eventually we're going to learn how to use them with the numbers.
And these posters are available on your website, of course?
Yes, definitely. But you can use them with the numbers. Eventually we're going to be saying, wait a minute, 13-day period, let me see the number here. That's why we keep saying it.
Right.
Because the 13-day period will change, because they run in group of 13. So in the 365 days,
right,
they're going to change, eventually.
Within the same year.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but however, once you learn about the number, right, and you start getting the number of the days, then you can put the number on the day. But the day will not change. The year will always begin on March the 12th, except on leap years.
Except on leap years.
On leap years, it'll be March 11. Very simply because they put a day in February and they moved the other days forward. So simple as that.
Right. But
anyway, so I said, I'm grateful for this 20-day period, for this 13-day cycle we're in. So if we're in the 13th cycle of the reed, you can count up there from the reed. Right there. That way. No, one. The reed is one.
The reed is one. Said, moment, yeah, now we. Chico stand, Chico moment, Chico
yeah. Right. And right now we're in the crocodile. Chignawi. So right now we're in the same 13-day period, right? Yes. That we began. But the 20-day period ended with flower yesterday. See? And we just began a new 20-day cycle. Okay, but we're still in the same 13-day period, right? Okay. So that's important to know. The 13-day period it's gonna continue until it reaches 260, which will be 13 times 20. You know. Okay. And
13 days times 20 times, right?
20 days times 13.
20 days times 13. Okay.
The numbers. Okay. So today we're in the day of the crocodile, right there. Okay. And the number is 9. Okay. See. Okay. So the number 9 gives it a quality, potential, a certain companion.
I get
see? And then, that's when eventually we're gonna go into this, right? You can probably zoom in on this, big brother, right? Because once we get into this,
we got it.
You got it? Yeah. These are here are the numbers. Okay. Aquí está, mira. So where's number 9? Can you see that? Can you?
I can't see that. I can't see that.
So we put on our glasses.
Yeah.
Let's raise the poster a little higher.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Oh wait, I can blow it up over here.
And guys, I'm just so blessed to have one of these posters myself. It was an honor. Mazatzin gave me a poster personally. Much love, Mazatzin.
Quetzalcoatl.
That's right. So there are numbers to every day, right? Every day has a number.
Right.
And every year has a number as well.
So the 9 represents Quetzalcoatl? Is that what you're
The 9, the companion of the number 9 is Quetzalcoatl.
Okay. So then it carries that energy, right?
So it also has that energy as well as the crocodile. So and the energy of the 20-day period itself. So, but that's what I was saying. Hello.
Yeah.
from that perspective, you know.
Right.
I told you just right before we began. I told you that very incredible what you have done, and in beginning this segment that we're doing here today, in an introduction to the Tonalmachiotl, right, and to the calendar itself. And on this day in particular, because this is the first day of the 20-day period.
Right.
When we had our Mexican New Year in San Pancho, you know, on March the 12th, and which was 40 days ago, you know, 40 and one. We challenged it, and we made a challenge. We said, who's going to be the next Calpuli, you know, who steps up and takes over for the next veintena, okay? Right? Because we can't be just Mexica for one day a year, ¿me entiendes?
Right, right.
Someone like going to the UN for the permanent forum for 10 days a year, you're Indian, you know?
You know,
so we have to be Mexica all the time. I mean, we don't have to be Mexica nada, but the calendar continues all the time.
Right.
You know, Mexica's comes and goes.
I hear what you're saying, because prior to your lesson from last Wednesday, I've been studying the book and following the energies of the day. And then in between last lesson from you and now, my good friend Daniel did the numbers. And then we learned how it's connected to our body, our hands, our feet, and that's how I would imagine a mom would teach.
Because we said you got to start with 1.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is that since I've been practicing these things, they're very cyclical. The things are structured in a very cyclical way. So as we get into the new 20, I already have my first experience of the first 20. It's just repeating. And I'm learning, oh, today's the flower. Okay, I'm gonna put that energy. Oh, today's this. Okay, I'm gonna put that energy. And a couple of days go by and I don't check it, but then I get back on it. And then I go, oh no, wait, I missed a couple of days, but it's gonna repeat again. And then it just, and solito is what I'm saying, is that it's almost getting like a chiropractor to put your bones back together once you follow these energies in a sequential pattern.
I think we call it like returning to a right relationship with nature at the rhythm of the cosmos. ¿Me entiendes? You know, like that's what it is. So we say our abuelos, our ancestors, All of them together, multitudes, like I said before. It didn't happen by one people, one place only.
Right.
But them,
And I love that story.
That ancient peoples, you know, all of them, you know, they didn't create anything. They just learned to read, you know, to observe, you know, pay attention, you know, like we don't do today, because we're too much. We can't even see no more because we're too much on our little cell phone or whatever, you know. But we don't notice the smallest things or the big things sometimes, you know. Okay, so all they did was they noticed how things were, respected it, checked it out,
and applied.
And applied. Okay, and so you know, I'm gonna just to finish this introduction of this talk today, to say that because we're in this 20-day period right now, it's a perfect time for people to start walking this calendar. To start walking this calendar, and we're gonna say the number that we're on, and so there's no reason to go, you know, to lose track. It's as simple as that. You know, I remember one of my friends really surprised me when he had the calendar, and he would have the kids draw each one of the days, right? And then they were putting their days that they drew on, you know, on the refrigerator, right, with a magnet or whatever, the tape.
That's cool.
So the idea is to use it. Send your kid off to school. Say, hey, you know what? They're the crocodile.
Right.
First day, the beginning of all things.
Right.
Plan something. Start something new. Something fresh.
Nice.
Let's go on this day. Okay. Potentials. You know.
Right.
You know, tomorrow's the day to win. The hecat. Breath of life. You know. Be like that. Be that breath of life. You know. Bring something to somewhere. You know. Wherever you go, you're part of it. You know.
Wow.
Remember, it's guided by Quetzalcoatl, and now that's precious knowledge and precious wisdom. Your precious twin. Wherever you go, you become that twin. Become. You know. In other words, just a guy. You don't stop what you're doing. You just keep that in mind as you go.
It's
like when you're driving, you're not gonna stop and float away.
It's kind of like getting the weather. Today is windy. I'm gonna get a coat and a hat. Right? It's the same concept, but
yeah, it's kind of like
it's very simplified.
Because we do it like that, right? With the horoscopes, you know, we do it with many ways, you know.
Right.
We try to we read the tea leaves and different things, right?
Right.
You know, and okay, so there's just one more thing to do, you know, one more thing to do.
Right.
But walk with it.
But it deserves respect.
For a purpose, right? They came to this conclusion.
Right.
In other words, it didn't happen in a day. Okay, it didn't happen by one people. It didn't happen, you know, even out of one mind or one heart. You know, it happened out of many who became that one mind and one heart. And I think that's what this is. Wow. I believe that the calendario Azteca, the Aztec calendar, and some people get all hung up on just calling it the Aztec calendar.
Right.
And well, I'm sorry, man, but that's what I call it because
right.
when I was a little bitty kid, that's what I called it.
Right.
Little kid a long time ago.
But now that we got the definition of what an Aztec is,
exactly, so
then you can apply it and go, oh wow, yes, I am that.
So the Aztec calendar, so right, and someone said, well, are people not Aztecs? That's right, you know, and neither am I, you know, but I hope to be.
Yeah,
I hope to someday be. Yeah, but they became Aztec. They were not Aztec. They became Aztec. They were not Olmec. They became Olmeca. They became Tolteca. In other words, they became these things.
Right.
These are not nationalities or places of origin. But we're going to go right now into my website. I see there. If we go to the beginning about the calendar. Remember, let's go to the beginning about the calendar first. Yeah. No. Yeah. There you go. Okay. And let me see who's going to. There you go. Maybe we could blow that up at there.
Maybe I'll pull it up on
my... Yeah, the story's all there.
Oh, right here on this page? Or on that page?
Yeah.
We could probably pull this up on your phone, huh, Zero?
Yeah. It'll be better for me because I can't read that on that phone.
So this is our website. It's called Azteca. Aztechnology. We still have the old website, Azteca Yolocali, the House of the Aztec Heart.
By the way, this is an amazing website.
It's linked to this.
Everyone paying attention right now, make sure you guys visit this website here. It's pretty sick.
It is. It is. Believe me, man, I'm still trip on it, and I got to get my, take my hat off. I already did, but take my hat off for Dan, the man, the whip master, man. He's the master. He really, really did, and that's my nephew, man. I gotta say, because I want to brag about that. Yeah, I mean, forever, he's always been nosy. You want to say, and to guess what? turned out to be the best whipmaster I could ever find. You know, someone who had it in his corazon. You know, and every day I come on here myself, and I'm surprised. He can assist things before I do. How about that? But here it is right here. You know, the Tonalmachiotl. And the story that we have is, you know, I want to show about how we're not trying to argue with anybody's concepts of all that have been taught before. We think that there's room for a little more. If you go to the Museum of Anthropology and History in Mexico City, guess what? You go to the bookstore and there's 1,000 books in there on the calendar. You know? Well, let's make it 1,001. Okay, that's all. So if we just go
Zero.
a little more in there, I believe that the information that we have presented, you know, that we have found it.
All right, got it. The pattern of the sun is now occupying the center stage at the National Museum of Archaeology and History in Chapultepec Park in Mexico City. The artifact was uncovered on December 17th, 1790, sculpted in the year of 13 Akat, read 1479, and containing millennia of accumulated astrological knowledge and wisdom. Spinning the continent stands in the most energetic art monument icon in the world. The Tonalmachiotl, usually known as the Aztek calendar, the next logical step of the Maya calendar, proven by modern science means to be the most precise calendar system invented by humankind. Want me to keep going? Here's the present. Here we the present, only a brief introduction to the manner of working, as it is called by the oldest of our teachers, that we have been using to devout understand the heart and mind of these extraordinary human beings who had reached their cosmic identity. What?
How do you like that so far?
I mean,
what do you think about it? Give me a little feedback on that.
Okay, so from what I understand, the accumulated knowledge that they put together, which is a sequence of time that helps you daily and intertwines with a different calendar that's shorter, which is a 260-day calendar, right? Am I getting it right so far?
So far,
And it's all accumulated into this one stone that can be read today.
Okay.
That's what I've gotten so far.
That's the truth.
Right.
The truth is, as Mazatzin sees it right for now. Let's not blame nobody else.
I agree with you. I agree with you, true.
Well, that's the conclusion we've come to.
Right.
Because we found pieces that are older than the calendar already, that were carved before the calendar, ¿me entiendes?
I see.
So there's pieces we found different places. The codices to begin with, the codex are older than the calendar. You know, the codex that we have, you know, in these images, you know, all these images, they're older than the calendar.
So the books are older than the stone.
Yeah, according to their measurements. I'm saying the Europeans and their information. So in other words, we found pieces, you know.
Right.
And I mentioned last time, I was at the British Museum in London, and I found a piece that happens to be the Shukoat, you know. And that's older than a calendar, okay, according to their dates they put on there. So in other words, in the culmination, you know, the finished product, okay, is right here.
Yeah.
The Tonalmachiotl, you know. Tonal, sun, machiot, machiote, a pattern. the pattern of the sun. The pattern of how to be like the sun. It's like when your mom's gonna make that shirt for you.
Right.
You know, she needs a pattern. She follows that. You know? And that's why we worked, right?
That's funny you say that. My grandma used to sew. She used to make my clothes.
Yeah,
when I was a baby.
Yeah, my mother as well. That's why we know, you know. And in fact, I have to say this. One time in high school, man, one of our schoolmates, right, was bragging about his clothes, you know. I didn't know that my mom was making his clothes for him, but that guy was bragging about his clothes, you know. So Tlazokamati, mama.
Absolutely. And Tlazokamati, grandma, for making my clothes.
You know. So I know it's the pattern of the sun. So it's how to become, how to be like that, you know.
So say it one more time. Tonalmachiotl. Tonalmachiotl.
Yeah,
So
Tonalmachiotl.
So break it down though.
Right.
The name is
Tonal, the sun.
The sun.
The energy, the power, the energy of the sun.
Right.
And Machiotl is the pattern.
The pattern.
El patrón del sol.
El patrón
o
del
molde
sol.
del sol.
El molde del sol.
Yeah. So in other words, it's there. So and for the longest time, well, anyway, we're gonna get into this. Pero what we're trying to bring out mainly is that it didn't start right now. Okay? This is the finished product.
Right.
But it began way back then. So if we go back into that, Armando, let's go back to that page again.
Do I need to hit something on this website too?
Yeah, you're gonna have to hit that again. You're right on. See where we're at, or maybe Armando wants to take over there.
Oh, this is lesson. Oh, we're gonna keep. You want me to keep reading?
Yes, there's more to it.
Okay. The written history of our ancestors, right there, right? That's where we left off. Okay. The written history of our ancestors and of their great territories, with little or a lot of their blood within us, huh?
That's real special. Let me do that part, then you can.
Absolutely.
Then Armando can take
I'll
over.
keep up with you.
On this one here, it's really special. It says, the written history of our ancestors and of their great territories, with little or a lot of their blood within us, has always had a pull or push on us, every one of us, yet mostly leaving everyone unable to answer. Wow. Who really were the Aztecs, or where they came from? The Olmec and the Toltec, were they the same? The Maya came after who? And then Maya, Chichimeca, Olmeca, Tolteca, Azteca, Mixteca, Zapoteca. A multitude of evidence shows traces of them and a variety of influences of our ancient people that inhabited this huge Western Hemisphere that indicate that there were many exchanges and encounters between all indigenous peoples to come to the conclusion that time is the common factor. So, with time and a common bond, they dedicated themselves to learn and respect one another to survive. Now let us present just a glimmer of the influence of our precious ancestors that we have access to, and hope that you may make it yours, because in short, it is not an Aztec thing, nor a Mexican thing, or Indian thing. It is the ancient Mexica chronological system, a human experience towards personal transcendence with global consequences. And that is our task.
Wow.
Wow. You said something super important there that really hit me like a bolt of lightning. Time doesn't have a race. Time doesn't have a bias. It goes. And either you're with it or you don't know anything about it. And to have that statement read on LA Natives, that these, I'm just getting more of a concept of who they were, what their goal was. Time has no bias. So if you're going to run, if you're going to reach out to territories, time would be a common factor on everybody across Turtle Island.
Right. The president doesn't have one more minute than you do. My goodness, nobody does, you know. Okay. So we need to find that. Well, for my work I'm doing, I need to find that one common thing that will help people bring people together. Well, that's what they did too. They found that one common thing. And I see two things that are powerful here. One is, and the other one is real incredible because of the day we're in today. So two things, okay? One was time, and the other one was Quetzalcoatl. Those are the two things that they moved throughout the whole continent, because we found traces of them throughout the whole continent.
Amazing. That's incredible to figure a governance with a common factor of time. That it's beyond economics. It's beyond. So, Armand, do you understand that?
I'm soaking it all in, you know, and
it's beyond money. When you have knowledge of time, like it's beyond money. I'm talking about every part. It's not like, oh yeah, from sunrise to sundown they were dope. No, it's 24 hours a day. They understood.
Well, you know what? That's interesting. So, well, first of all, I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. Like I said,
right.
I may look that old, but I'm not that old.
Right.
I wasn't there, you know.
Yeah.
And so I can't say what they were doing and many things like
absolutely,
that.
Absolutely.
And many times we have to end up saying what they were not doing because we know certain information that we know doesn't mean that.
Absolutely.
So we can go from that direction. But nonetheless, the fact that today we can see time and see where we're at, and you work on this calendar, is because there's certain dates in history and our story, okay, that match. Very few, but there are some, okay. And from those days, we bring the calendar forward or backwards, and we can, you know, be here, you know, and know the day that it is.
And 13 Akkad is one of them.
And the number that we're at, right. And so that's all very important.
There was one more thing in there, if I can remember quickly. Oh, it was one thing. So the governance or the factor of non-bias, just time, we established that. But there was something in those paragraphs that I read, or either you read, that said that there was always something in our blood, even though it wasn't pure blood, there was always something pulling us to this calendar. Whether it be Armando's story about that calendar being on the mantle, his dad struggling to put it in, right? And now he's working with one of the artists that really represent that, or has been trying to walk that road for so long. And you with, it's just always been there. Like I can't remember a time where this was not there.
It's always been there, man, okay? Now, that's how I felt when I was a little kid, okay? When I was a little kid, going to a bakery, going to a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, barbershop, been a long time, but, you know, all these places, there's the calendar. All these places, there's the calendar. All this, wherever I went, there's the calendar. And it was always looking at me. It was always looking at me. No matter where I got, no matter where I went. It was always watching me.
Yes.
You know, and nobody could tell me anything about it. Nobody could tell me anything about it. You know, and anyway, it's always been there, like you said. I like to think that it's been watching us all this time, wherever it's been watching you as you walk by, wherever it's been, you know. But it's like the sun. We never say, "Kyo le, sun, how is it going?"
Right.
Sometimes we do, right? We get up in the morning and say, "Kyo le, caracol." We try to do that sometimes. We don't need a caracol, just "Kyo le, sun." We don't got to say nada. But there are some people who sit at the edge of the mountains and wait for the sun to come up, say hello to. You know?
Well, I know.
Abuelos, you know, who have been doing it for a long time, and that's their responsibility. And you know, you won't take it from them. You know, so we need to okay. So time was of the essence, you know. So let me continue here.
Yeah.
Can you put up our first grandfathers? Did they call him? Can we blow that up any at all? Because I like that.
The stone?
Yeah, that's good right there. Yeah. It says, like I said, this is our task. What is it? Our task is to remember it's not a Mexican thing or an Indian thing or an Aztek. You know, it's a human thing. It's a human experience towards personal transcendence. So our most ancient ancestors became Olmec. The word Olmecat comes from Olin, movement, and Mecatl, which it means is rope or something to tie. When they began measuring and recording the changes in nature and tying the movements of time of the cosmos and watching it, you know, all around them and recording it. And I always say, I really believe that there were Olmec all over the world because people were doing this all over the world, measuring time and recording it some way. So Olmec is that, measuring, tying time. And I think last time we were here, we said we did that to time. Remember, we had tight time and kind of give it an in and out. Before you know it, we get everything done in that piece of time. Sometimes it gets bigger than we thought it would.
Right.
And sometimes it's less. So we learn to work with time, and I believe that's what they were doing. ¿Me entiendes? Olmec. You know, and then it says they became Olmec. And then they were followed by our grandfathers, the Toltec, what we call Toltec.
Toltecs.
Armando, you'll get on the Toltec on there for people can see.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what, big brother?
Yeah.
You will not believe, man. I had the most incredible experience. Okay, in front of this jefe, in front of this precious jefe here. This.
Yeah, the one that's on the screen right now. There you go.
This Toltecat.
Wow.
This Chutecutli, that's Chutecutli Toltecat. But I had the most incredible experience here because not this past year because we couldn't come get gathered, but the year before, 2019, okay, on July 23rd, when the sun came up, okay, I was standing on top, right next to that statue right there.
Yeah.
Right there as the sun came up.
Wow.
With the Arirahi from Tahiti and the Arirahi from the Marquesas, two sovereign people.
Wow.
They came to join me to walk on the zenith of the sun.
Wow.
And we began in Tula, the sacred city of Tula.
Wow.
Where this grandfather is at,
Wow.
right here. This sacred grandfather, the sacred city of Tula. They were followed by the Toltec, our ancestors, the master craftsmen that designed, built, and created according to the measurements of their grandfathers. Toltec became synonymous for one who will not settle for second best.
Wow.
One who will give his or her best and all to whatever endeavor that they were involved with to work to the peak of capacity.
Wow.
Our Toltec grandfathers, check it out, man, they became precise. Precise, brother. Not perfect, but precise. Make sure it didn't hit each other. Precise so it worked. ¿Me entiendes?
Right.
And they didn't stop till it worked. Okay? So they didn't settle for second best. There was a time when we were like that too. There was a time I recall when my father and all the rest of the campesinos, the workers, right? They would get together and talk about their work, They'd always come up, two things would always come up. The first thing was chingao. I was shorted. I was shorted in my check. I was shorted a day. I was shorted an hour. I was shorted a week. It was shorted. It always came up. Everybody was shorted somehow, a little bit. The second thing that always came up, and what were you doing? ¿Qué estabas haciendo? We were building this and this and that. And then they start talking about the work they were doing. And the smile came back to their face, man, and the pride, because they took pride in their work, even if they were not paid for it, ¿me entiendes?
Right.
Because it wasn't about the pay, it was about the work.
Right.
So that was Tolteca. I saw that, like I said, in my father and the people around me. We should be like that Tolteca. Nowadays, we try to do less and get more for it.
Right.
We try to skate. We try to get away from everything. Wow. That's why you say, wait a second. It's sooner or later it's gonna affect us.
Right.
Okay. So we need to once again be Tolteca. So we need to be Olmeca. We need to learn to measure time and tie it for our benefit, of course, but not to hurt nobody else. And then Tolteca to give the best that we can. Don't settle for second best. And then it went on, and they became to
Zero.
To the Maya. How's it going? How do you think?
Zero. Precise.
I mean, we could see the evolution, like taking grandfather's information and going, cool, okay, now I'm this. I want to improve upon what that is, because I don't know what perfection is, but I know I can make it work. I can make it work. And then they take that to the next, right? The next version of that knowledge, passed down, right? To who they were, the Maya. The Maya's the next.
Yeah.
So it's Olmec tying time. It's Toltec being precise, not settling for second best. To be as accurate as you can, to pass down information to the Maya.
Well, you'll see that eventually they were like almost always there.
Yeah.
All the time.
Okay.
But it's just a certain. If what we're talking about today when we're walking, not everybody's in the same space, and sometimes someone else comes and occupies that space. Hopefully, moving in the same direction.
Right.
Okay. And that's all this was. But you were right about passing it down, and
because you told me something that was very impactful when we talked. I'm studying the book, I'm studying the poster, and I think I'm getting it. And you're all, no, you don't get it. It's given to you. That sounds exactly about what we're talking about.
Right.
Right? The Olmec people aren't just going to be like putting it on a newspaper and posters, and it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like, I trust you with this. I'm done. Yeah. This is, where's it going? Here.
And you know what? You know what's real incredible? That here we are, after 500 years. Man, we're still here.
Yeah.
After 500 years, I'm looking over there, 1492, that number over there, on his hat, on Armando's hat.
Right.
1492, ya pasó.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about 1521. Imagine from 1492 to 1521.
Wow.
There's a big black hole of history there somewhere.
Right. Right.
Yeah. If it takes them 3 months or 4 months to come from Spain to the islands, 50 miles away from the mainland,
right.
It took them 3 months. How come it took them 38 years to come to the mainland?
Yeah.
That's a big questions in there that we have to look into the history again,
Right.
But the important part is that it couldn't stop, because the work was finished. In other words, imagine if they had stopped it before it finished.
I thought about that.
We wouldn't know it because where are the books? The books are in the Vatican Library. The books are all over the world. How do we know they belong together? They're even different things. Oh, that's Maya. Oh, that's Inca. Oh, that's.
But not with numbers. The numbers are almost identical.
What I'm saying is, we don't know because they're scattered throughout.
Right.
But because they finished the work.
Right.
Okay. So all those are in here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Okay? This is the culmination of thousands of years of patient observation and study by thousands of people across thousands of miles. That's the bottom line.
Right.
And anyway, it speaks for itself, And
well, once you get that concept, yes, it does, because you think first, oh, the Aztecs did it. It was a group of people in Tenochtitlan. They didn't go anywhere. They just automatically knew all this star observation, and it doesn't make sense. But as you say it and explain it the way you're explaining it, it does make sense when you go.
Oh, beautiful! At one time they had to be there. They had to be there in Chichen Itza. At one time they had to be there. Okay. At one time they had to gather there. Come on, they had to gather.
And there was proof. I was watching a documentary, and they were going over how that the people that were from Teotihuacan put in a new ruler in the Maya's territory. Like, that's far. That's a far place to go. Hey, I want this guy to be the jefe over there. And they figured it out by the dress and the way they were. Yeah. I don't know. That's what the documentary said. But it making sense to what you're saying is that there was interchanging of information.
Yeah, well, I don't think nobody imposed rulers anywhere.
Exactly. That was the documentary. I get it. But but if when you're talking in, I would. It's kind of like an abuelo like yourself, right? Where you're like, oh, look, I have a lot of information. Let me show you. And then you go, oh, shoot, that's applicable to my life. I want to learn. And you're humble to it. I think that's the way those kind of things kind of coincide in the ancient time.
Well, I was just talking to somebody. I can't remember who it was, but I mentioned it's like the people who named the Mayan gods,
Right.
Do you know they have a snout-nosed god?
No.
Yeah, man. Because its nose looks like a snout. Some tapao, ¿entiendes? And a snout-nosed god.
Right.
Come on. God K. Come on.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Right.
If you follow the story, even their story, right? You'll see that God K happened to come up at a particular time when Venus was coming up as the morning star. Maybe they're talking about the morning star, or that event,
Right.
Everything. I told you, my oldest maestro told me everything is scientific and astronomical. Everything.
Wow.
There's nothing there. There's no Quetzalcoatl that's not astronomical, or can be broken down into science. Everything, and that's what we need to do. That's why the first thing we taught was earth, wind, fire, and water. Remember? We can. I want to get back to this because
absolutely. But yeah,
this is good because
it's just
we're reminiscing it and bringing it to a whole. I wanted to show, excuse me, I wanted to show the other part about the Maya because, we want to close this up here. Let me see if I can get back where I was at. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Andale. So we went from like you said, we went through time periods, knowledge of Olmecs, putting things together, and then Toltec taking it to where it worked, and it's precise, and then our ancestor from the Mayab, okay, from Mayab, okay? Because it's not just a Maya, because there's 20, 30, 40, many peoples, that are part of that Mayab, right? They set the perimeters for us, okay? So the word Maya, if you, right now today, if you ask some people ask them to bring you a Maya, what are they going to bring you? Do you know?
What do you mean? I don't get it.
Would you know, Armando? A Maya?
A Maya?
Yeah. What, like somebody from Central America or something?
Una Maya, yeah. No, pero, when you're building something, una Maya, it's una cerca, right? It's a fence,
They call it Maya? I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, it's a net, but it's called a Maya. Because it's a net.
Oh, a net.
Right, and like a net, right? What does a net do? A net sets perimeters, here. And from the Mayab, right? It says the Mayab, they set perimeters for us, and they were entrusted with leading us to the beginning of time and the end of the present cycle, right? And was manifested by various projected astronomical phenomena in 2012, especially the return of Quetzalcoatl. Wow. I love that part. Finally, after centuries, the responsibility was passed on to our ancestors who reached the stage of Aztecat.
Wow.
AZ, harmonious instrument, Tecat, a person. Of our ancestors created that monumental talking stone, the Tonalmachiotl. Now we can show our Tonalmachiotl. It's in the beginning, in the top, very top. Yeah, right there, zoom into that little guy. Yeah, oh, precious. Our precious talking stone, the Tonalmachiotl.
The precious talking stone.
That encompasses the secrets of the universe, that allows them to model their life in a perfect harmonious relationship of the rhythm, the human being in his mother's womb, or uniting the rhythm of the human being in his mother's womb with those of nature and the earth at the rhythm of the cosmos. Specifically, the Tonalmachiotl, it measures human gestation in periods of 9 months, 200 to 273 days, and that's called the Tonalpoali, or the Solkin in Maya, in correlation with the period of the Earth's translation around the sun in a 365 and a quarter day solar year. Precise. That's what the numbers come from, 1320. That's how long you're in your mother's womb.
Right.
And in 13-day groups, you're traveling inside there somehow. I see Mitlantecutli taking you here.
Right.
Why Mitlantecutli? Because Mik is transformed. Mictlan, abundance transformation.
Wow.
And Tecutli, the guide of abundance transformation. So he's in there with Quetzalcoatl, right? Which is the breath of life. But right now you're getting it from mom, until the time comes. Once you've traveled the 13 times 20 days, or each 20 days, 13 with 13 numbers, 260, then comes Quetzalcoatl with the breath of life. Your first breath of life. That's when you come in here. This is all incredible to me.
And this is the Tonalama, right? When you take your first breath, you're given the year, the day, right? And a number, right?
Right. This period was recorded in 13-day cycles. And when the child was born, he or she was given the name and the number of that particular 24-hour piece of time. The ancestors could identify the potential and qualities and capabilities that existed in that space of time. And this was the basis of his or her responsibility to everybody and everything that surrounded them. And I know from the get-go. From the get-go, it wasn't about you or me. It was about us. It was about them all together.
Right.
That's something that we find here.
Wow.
And that's why we can share it, Because it wasn't made for me. But I feel responsible to share it.
Right.
But I want to share the right stuff.
Right. I think you did a great job in at least giving us an understanding that it was a communal effort, that it took a long time, that it took what we would call generations after generations after generations, right? Because that's the only way you could explain like handed down wisdom. Right. Like you don't need to get it. It's given to you.
Yeah, it was given to us actually. It's there with our first breath of life.
Right.
Okay. Now, is there a system? There's many systems. So just take it as a system that'll help you get the most out of it, right? But it's that one thing was very important. Is that mother and father were responsible for ensuring that their child grew up recognizing and knowing its potentials and capabilities, and because of responsibility and maintaining the rhythm in which they were born. So that was important, you know, and Zero, you know, man, for the longest time since I've known you, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about it last time. People have been calling
right.
and saying, hey, my son was just born, my daughter was just born. And
right.
Because they want to get a little more close to the identity, you know?
Right.
We're not telling them, you know, like this because, you know, don't be confused. It's not a horoscope, right? It's not superstition.
Right.
Right? It was not meant to be measured luck or future or destiny.
And
it's not an obligation, it's a responsibility.
What I've done with my children is that since you've helped us name them, and I didn't have the full picture, but I've always studied what it meant. Like, oh, Oline, remember, conscious movement. You have that potential. It's not time to sit down in the middle of the day and maybe not do nothing. Maybe let's tap into that. And he gets it. He's like, yeah, you know, you're right. Okay. And he gets it, you know. Just a guide, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm saying, be aware of your potential. Lauis. Yeah. He's my little light everywhere. Just going around. Speaking truth. Yeah. Calling you on it. You know, remembering. Go on.
It's a guide. Yeah, it's definitely a guide. And it says, be mindful, right? That it's not an Aztec thing or a Mexican thing or an Indian thing, but the ancient Mexica chronological system. It's a human experience towards personal transcendence, but with global consequences. That's what we're talking about now. Okay? It is Mexica because it was finalized and disseminated from modern-day Mexico City, Mexico Tenochtitlan, the headquarters of the Confederation of the Eagle and the Condor. Okay? This is the culmination of a collective continental experiment that crossed thousands of miles and peoples over thousands of years, resulting in a cosmic identity and responsibility to everything and everybody that surrounds one. Neither is it based on the color of your skin, eyes, or your hair, but rather in the moment you took your breath of life. And this calendar is for you and about you. And then finally we can say, now you can learn how to read and use the calendar on a daily basis. Even find the name of the year and the day that you took your first breath of life on the Tonalmachiotl. And be prepared for a reintroduction to your cosmic identity, right? Because it brings responsibility. And I wanted to say that, but right now I gotta give a shout out to Heron, right, who accompanied me last time and helped me connect with you guys. Very good. Right now he wasn't able to be here with us, so Heron, if you're watching it out there, kiule. And
what's up, Heron? Shout out.
We're sending a shout out because he's at a vigil. At a vigil for Aisha Mireles, who was unfortunately found dead without known cause in Compton on the Los Angeles River Bridge, and for Adam Toledo, 13-year-old, who was also shot by the Chicago PD. So they're working hard. As you know, people have been working on this, on the kids in cages, stuff like this, all this stuff. This stuff doesn't stop, you know? It doesn't stop. So we're hoping that maybe we're gonna give a shout out to all these people. The candlelight vigil's happening now. It's called Enough is Enough.
Okay.
You know? And
it's in Santa Ana?
It's in Santa Ana.
Okay.
And we're sending our love, our energy, our power, you know, to that area.
If Heron can send it to our Instagram, we can put it on the website. If he can.
That'd be good. But you know,
I'm actually going to be pulling up the flyer right now.
Perfect.
Very good. Perfect.
And to get back to topic, and which is obviously this is a pressing topic, and we're always going to be, but it starts to become a more focused picture when you understand how your ancestors documented things, passed it down, and then created this masterpiece. When you were telling me that, or when you just said that it was the confederation of the eagle and the condor.
Right
it
there.
was to have that confederation of the eagle. There has to be agreements. Agreements. This is an agreement that we're going to work on certain things. And this, to me, when you said that, was the seal of that agreement.
I do believe it. I do believe it. We said it to that point, and staying on the subject, because we are on the subject. This occurs because of the, from my perspective, you know, my conclusions, you want to call it, is that this is still going on because of the misunderstanding of this. Because of this misunderstanding and the way history has been taught all throughout, not just for us Mexicanos, you know, but for indigenous people, for all peoples, you know, the way it's been taught, it's been, I don't know, mumbo jumbled up, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You know, it hasn't been correct, okay? So it hasn't been teaching us to be humans, you know, okay? And this taught us that we not only were we human, like big deal you were human. In other words, you're only part of the rest of the cosmos. ¿Me entiendes? And that's the difference. See, now once humans took over, they want to run the show now. You know, they forget about the other living beings that are part of the show and been part of it all along. You know, and that's why this takes into account all those living beings, everything that surrounds us. You know, to come to this conclusion. You know, and the lack of understanding of the cosmic identity. You know, that's how people can hurt other people, you know, because they don't understand that that's themselves, you know. They don't have that cosmic identity or can see without their eyes, you know, these kind of things.
Right. I could see how you say, once you take responsibility for your energy that you're born under and you use it to affect everyone around you, then you take it to people who like meditate, use crystals, and they know if I walk in a room, my energy field is going to affect people, right? That's a scientific proven thing.
Okay.
But when you're focused on who you are, what time you were born, what energies come with, imagine how far the reach is.
You can
and it
excel.
And it affects everyone around you, not like, oh, I'm going to go pick up the trash over there and then feed this guy over here. And then, you know, just like a one-man show of everything. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about affecting, understanding your cosmic identity based on something that was an agreement by the eagle and the condor to finish.
I believe so.
That's an amazing interpretation.
Yeah. Well, I believe
not
so.
like a museum. Oh yeah, this was built for the sacrifices of, you know, humans. And look at, see this guy right there. That's who they sacrificed. And look at his knife is right there.
Right. I don't know. Armando, you're Mr. Time today.
Am I?
How much time have we got?
We have 1 hour.
Oh, we got a little bit of time. Good. That was good. Yeah, because you know, eventually we're gonna get to that point. You know, right? Who is this really? You know.
Right.
I always say it's more than just a pretty face. You know. you know, there's more to it. You know?
Yeah.
Mira cabeza de piedra. You know, like most of us. You know.
Right.
You know, so I think it's
those metaphors within the materials.
It's very natural.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, very natural. You know, natural, and that's how we have to get to it. When we got into our booklet, right? That's what it was about. It was about, excuse me, it was about being as simple as possible. You know, it's breaking down to the basics. You know, they want to add in too much information or try to follow some or philosophy or anything sounded like good luck or bad luck. You know, we don't need that. Just, you know, what is a serpent? You know, what is a dog? You know, how's a rabbit? I mean, most people, you know, well, they could tell you what they were before. Now some kids haven't even seen a rabbit ever. You know,
right.
You know, and but nonetheless, but what I mean is down to the simplest things. You know, and I think that's why it got away from everybody. Okay, because you know how long you've known me, right? For quite a while.
Right.
It got away from everybody.
Right.
You know, we weren't able to catch the attention of, you know, of some buddies, you know, that they could have excelled this and moved it in. Okay, so we don't want to stop here, right? Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing, because we're actually taking the responsibility to teach.
Yeah.
You know,
and share.
To me,
it's like I know my mission. I'm aligned with, I think, from your information, with Malinali. I invented Malinali superfoods way before I was tuned into that. That's what I named it naturally. It just came off my tongue. This is what it's going to be called, and what it does, and how it affects people, how it affects around me. So I'm already understanding how it is. To get the breakdown and the lesson from you is the special part. That's the special part. That's like, there's no words for what I'm like going through. This one-to-one, this explanation to our audience, because all I created here was them, for them, you know? And now it's time for us to really conceptualize time and use the tools that were brought here in a marketplace. These things cost time to make. They're materials. We need to make them available. And then as we grow and we get more episodes in and we get deeper into it, we can refer to it.
Totally.
Because it repeats.
Totally. Yeah, and the same thing with the books, you know. They're perpetual. You can keep, when people have kept them for a long time, you can see the same book forever and ever. Just learn to move those numbers little by little.
I found one in my storage. It's black and white, and it doesn't have Che in the back.
Yeah. A long time ago.
It was just your daughter.
It was, because that was before that 13, 2013.
I still have it.
Yeah,
I still have it.
And people would send me one and said, or show me a picture of it. Hey, look, I got this one here, it's falling apart. Can I have another one? Yes. You know, but the idea. But I gotta say one more thing because you mentioned, and I mentioned too, the ego and the condor, these things, okay?
Right.
So far, what I shared right here with you, just a little bit, I talk about the Olmec, I talk, Toltec, I talk Maya, because these are concepts that we hear, that we know about, okay? But you know what? Even that right there is like kind of youngsters as well, okay? Okay, to the heavy duty and ancient, okay? Ancient information that we found and we've seen, that we know. Now, we didn't find it, I'm not the finder, but that I've been in witness, right, in Tiahuanaco, the door of the sun, right, in Bolivia, in Lake Titicaca, right, in Ecuador, in these places, ancient, totally
Olmec.
Oh, totally pre-Olmec, pre this time period that we're talking about here. About the movement, okay? Because of that movement, that was happening throughout, So that goes way back. So there are gonna be a lot of connections, from way down south from a long time ago. But over there, Inca and pre-Inca, okay?
Right.
Because guess what? Because they're still there. Wow. It's just like us. We're still here.
Yeah.
Well, they're still there. To me, they're more fortunate than us because they're still there in the land, even they're still there. ¿Me entiendes? In Bolivia and in the selva, and they're still there. That's land. That's mama. That's their mother. They're still there. And the whole concept of the Andes, that's the whole concept. That's one concept. The one thing suyo.
Right.
Okay, it's not divided like we've been divided, or people divide us all the time.
Right.
So the only two really bodies that we see is Anahuac and Tahuantinsuyo. Right? Ixachiatlan, the immensity, right? Turtle Island, which is the whole thing. So that information, man, it is so incredible. When I first saw, in fact, when you get to Cusco and you come out of the airport, right there's a big giant. It looks like gold, by brass, right? But a big giant Inti, right? And you look at it and you think you're looking at the calendar, but you come up to it and wow, it's not the calendar, It's not the Aztek calendar, but there's Inti, man, beautiful, made of beautiful, the sun. So that's
their version,
and it's broken. Well, that's the work. That's their study. That's their work. They came to the conclusion that the sun was the center of our universe. That's how far they were advanced.
Wow.
From everybody on the other side of the world, and that's it to them. they're pueblos del sol, you know. Okay, like we're pueblos del sol too. You know? And but it doesn't end there. You know, it begins there, starts there. I mentioned before in the Chacana, this image of Quetzalcoatl. I was telling you the other thing was Quetzalcoatl.
Right.
Quetzalcoatl, Culculcan, Gugumas, Viracocha. This is all Quetzalcoatl. These are all Quetzalcoatl.
Wow.
So there can't be no different Quetzalcoatl down there than there is up here. And I'm sure they'll come to the top too, to the north. Those concepts, because they're not peoples, you know.
Right.
You know, they're moving this concept, you know,
right.
of you are my other me, and Lakesh, you know.
Right.
You know, this is the same thing, Quetzalcoatl, you know. Or Namaste, they say, you know. So there's many ways of saying these things. You know? So we can say one continent, right? One culture with multitudes of customs and traditions. Many ways to say hello to, you know, to Tatas. Right? Tomorrow, the 22nd, tomorrow, one of the good maestros, one of my first maestros, Akamapishli, that we got him right here. Okay, Akamapishli will be in El Paso, in that area, El Paso area, Laredo area, and they're uniting the nations, indigenous people from the USA and the indigenous people from Mexico, you know, crossing together and uniting tomorrow, you know, during this Earth Day that they're having in Mexico, Tenochtitlan. They've already, you know, been doing
the day of Aheca.
They've been doing the ceremony, the day of the Earth, Earth Day, you know. And
but on the calendar, it's the Heka. Right?
Well, it was Ipakli today.
So tomorrow.
But today it began, yes, and so.
Oh, today it began. Okay, I see.
So in other words, the people are still working. You know, the people that are still working that we've been working with, studying with, you know, learning and sharing with, like you said, you know. But this information is here. You know, it's on the inside. You know, of here that we're gonna go into next.
Okay.
You know, so we can finally talk about the sun.
Finally.
The sun god.
Wow, what an introduction. But it needed that, you know.
Any questions, Armando, or comments that you want to share?
Man, I'm just absorbing all this because it's, you know,
it's like a ton of information, but I'm following it very clearly. It's on a podcast. It could be rewinded and stuff. So, I mean, I'm understanding it so, because when you went to Tesawansuyu and started talking about the Inca, I know I'm not too versed in it because I had a lot of time spending on our culture, but man, when you were just talking about it, I was like, wow, that's like their version of it, and they have their own system and they have their own counts and they have their own names. But the Kukulkan is similar with the story, right?
Well,
or the count,
even more than that. Okay. This is our culture, okay? This is our abuelos, you know, Mapuches. These are our abuelos, Aymaras. These are our abuelos in Guarani. These are our abuelos, Chela, we can say these are our abuelos, you know, Anishinaabe. These are our abuelos, Lakota. These are our abuelos, bro, okay? Right. So in other words, we said there's a union, so then we got to keep it like that. And you know, okay, these are our abuelos. And everybody had a part. Like I said once before, without a doubt, they had to be sitting inside those kivas at one time. Listening to them, you know, or ceremony with them and how they relate to Mother Earth, you know,
right?
And then somewhere else, you know, I read it one time somewhere that even all the secret sites in the desert, New Mexico, Arizona, that most of them are aligned by the passing of the moon, you know. So they had to teach that, you know, to them, you know. You know, Lakota has star charts, you know, incredible star charts. You know, they had to sit there and be with them and understand that, you know.
Right.
You know, and so on, you know. So in other words, it had to be a communal thing.
Yeah.
And if I say, I believe that the calendar, you know, it is the Inti, it is the Sol from Peru, you want to call it, Tawantinsuyo, here's Inti.
Wow.
But it's also the medicine wheel from other Lakota. Right. And it's also, ¿me entiendes?
Yeah, it's a gathered knowledge.
Exactly. So the culmination with the face right there in the center.
Right.
You know, okay. And very, 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 very complete. Because one thing, the names that we're using, Quetzalcoatl, you know, all these names that we're using, Tonalmachiotl, all these are what they call the Nahuatl language, right? Nahuatl language. And we can call it Nahuatlatoli.
Nahuatlatoli.
Tlatoli means speaking. Nahuatl means harmoniously. You know, also like the running water, you know. So we're speaking harmoniously. That's why the language is like that. You know, it's almost like a real nice, you know, it doesn't got no rough. You know, every word, all the words are, they take the accent sound and the second to the last syllable. Like Mexica, Azteca, Mazatzin, Tenochtitlan, Totatzin. You don't take a written, you know, of course, a written accent, but that's where the sound is at. All of them are like that. So the sound is, the language is a harmonious language. The sound of running water, they call it. You know?
The sound of running water.
So the language that we have, when you learn that language, you know, you can learn the language of the calendar. You know, that's the key, to learn the language of the calendar and walk with that calendar. Right? Sipakli today, Sipakli, the day of the crocodile. Sipakli. You know, the language is very descriptive. You know, every word descriptive. You know, you know, you can put a whole sentence behind every piece of the word. Sipakli, see, from se, uno, pakli, on top of, or patli, medicine, you know, dili, tiolai, the suffix, meaning the. So, you know, all these on the word sipakli.
Wow. In one word.
Yeah.
All that.
And that's today. So we take, well, the crocodile, or lagarto, or amphibian. We can go to that. Okay, what's a crocodile? Talk to the kids. They'll tell you, oh, it's this and that.
It's land and water.
Yeah, it comes out of the water, walks on land. Beginning of evolution of all things. Right. So today, Sipakli. Today we're beginning. So just things like that. Like I said, when I said.
Where, did you catch that, guys? Where Sipakli is there, for one, because it represents the start of new things, where an animal crawled out of the water and walked on land. Wow.
So we hear.
Wow.
That's according to his story. But anyway.
I wouldn't doubt that they're on that level.
It works.
Back then.
No, but check it out. So the idea is that every day has a mission to accomplish. Okay? Every day has a purpose and a mission to accomplish. Okay? And so that can become our mission, right? Simple as that. But a mission, you have to take the mission. They don't give you a mission and go do it. That's not a mission. or maybe a secret mission. But anyway, the idea is that it's what I mentioned. It's responsibility more than obligation. So it's not about obligation. You got to do this. You got to do that. You know, no responsibility. Do it. People will step into their responsibility. You know, and don't fight. You know, the obligation again.
Right.
You're obliging somebody to do something. They don't like that. You know?
Right.
But if there's a responsibility, who can help me here? I will. Come on.
Right.
Instead of you and you, come here. You know, pedals, you know?
Right.
But responsibility comes from potential. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the potential, about this whole image that we have right here, and so let's go ahead and put it up again. And
you want to zoom into this?
Huh?
You want to zoom into it?
No, he's going to put up this one.
Oh,
so people can see this.
Go to the website. Yeah.
And we're going to zoom on it. And you and I are going to put on our reader glasses.
Okay. I have a picture of it.
Yeah, so we call it the Tonalmachiotl. Yeah, the Tonalmachiotl.
Do you want me to read the Sipakli?
Let's start at top. Let's start on the top.
Okay. Tonalmachiotl, the pattern of the sun, right?
Okay, and we talked what that was, right?
Yes.
Why is the pattern of the sun?
Right.
How the word is broken down, tonal y machiote.
Right.
So there's two pieces to that.
Right.
Okay, and then right there on the top, matlakli ye akat shiwit.
Matlakli ye akat shiwit. Oh, I didn't take a picture of that.
The year 13 read. This 13 read, it's got a couple of days. 13 read. It represents also represents the year 1323. Okay, check it out. 1323. that year 1323, these dates that we're going to talk about a little bit, they're carved in other pieces, other stone. That's how we're able to put the picture together, the story together.
I see.
But 1323, and then plus 5 days of the 4 year signs, it will bring them to the year 1328, which would be the year 5 Flint, which repeated itself as 2012. You know, okay. So
the procession.
Yes, yeah, exactly, 2012. So this is carved on another stone that I think we saw last time. They call it the foundation stone. But these are dates that are on there. That year 13 Reed, 13 Carrizo, that's up there on top. That's also the year equivalent to the year of 1479. Okay, 1479. So 1479 was the year that they tell us that they carved this stone. Okay. In 1479, 13 Reed. Okay, and it also represents 1999. Okay. So in 1999, it was 13 Reed again. So that was what allowed us to come back into the focus of all this, because we're living in those times. 13 Reed, 4 movement. We're living in these times again. And thank goodness that, you know, you and I didn't start this, or anyway for us. It's been going on all along.
Right.
So somehow people were keeping up, and we've been kept up. So I just give thanks, you know, to all the maestros that, you know, we've had the honor to.
Like Maestro,
learn, you know.
like Maestro Camapichli.
Maestro Segura, you know.
Arturo Mesa.
All these, Abuela Arturo Mesa, all these people. Incredible. They all contribute, you know.
Right.
Right now, it's good to see out there right now, because there's a lot of controversy. People talk a lot of stuff about a lot of people sometimes.
Right.
Know? I just wish they would keep it to themselves, or write it in a letter, you know.
Right.
And put it in that, you know, in the round basket, you know. You know. But I know it's big deal. What about it? You know. Let's contribute. Let's work away. Let's contribute. You know. I find it very ironic and like chingao, man. You know, that in this year, you know, 2021, 500 years, okay? We've been waiting for this for 500 years. And I find it ironic that right now there's so much division, you know, amongst the people still. Divisions among the people that should be, you know, listening to this at least. Because why? Because we got a responsibility to give it to others. How can we give to others? You know, we failed. I think we kind of failed in our job as Mexica, as Azteca, or Raza, or whatever, because we did not fulfill, you know, our mission of learning it, giving it to the children, and pass it on to others.
Right.
That would have made all the difference in the world if all those kids would have grown up, you know, the way thinking that way about each other, the way we're supposed to be, like you're bringing your children, you know. So in other words, we dropped the ball. Now we can get on the ball again, you know. Get on the ball again, man, okay? The time has come.
You're talking about like 1999, right?
Yeah. Well, this is 2021. It's 500 years. We can't let this year go by without returning to the rhythm of the cosmos.
Right.
You know, because once we do that, then guess what? We give it to everybody.
Right.
Because everybody's got to get on the rhythm.
Right.
Okay? And we're not trying to influence them and for them to be Mexica or be Aztec, nothing like that. We just want we want to have precision. We don't want to bump into each other, in other words. We want to be able to respect everything that surrounds us, you know? That's all.
And
it's here.
This is what I got from our promise, right? It keeps playing back in my head what you said, our promise from our abuelos, our ancient abuelos who gathered with other abuelos across the continent, sounds like. Totally. Sounds like. And then when you said that our son will find dignity and shine upon us again. To me, dignity is taking responsibility for my energy, because it affects everyone around us. So if I learn this, I will be fulfilling a prophecy that was given 500 years ago. I know that when we first started doing this, we came into it at different ages, right? And it was like a wobbly, the way I felt in that movimiento was like, it wasn't stable. It didn't have abuelos. We were the, not per se, but we were the ones acting like it. And I'll learn it. I'll go sit down and learn. But when you came last Wednesday And then I've named all my children that way. And I know a lot of families that have named their children that way. Did they teach them the 20-day signs? No. Do they know their numbers? No. Do they know the depth meaning of this calendar? No. But they have the name. And that name, even with my kids, I never forced them. You got to do this. I never. But little by little, as they get older, hey, Dad, why? Why is that? Why? Oh, because, sit down. Interesting how I do stuff like that. You know, I guess what I'm trying to say is time, from what I've learned in this 1 week, has control of us, not us control of it. And if we find a way to read it consistently, apply it consistently, just like you would apply mineral-based diets, just like you would go to your sweat lodge. This is information. And I could see why Uncle is pressed about time, because he's been studying time for 25 years. And guess what, guys? We need to get on it. We need to buy our materials. We need to buy our book. We need to buy our poster. And we need to apply as best as we can to this harmonious understanding and gift. That's the way I see it.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
How about you?
I absolutely agree, guys.
and the chat, I know that the chat agrees with it. I know that the chat is hungry. I mean, after your first episode, they were like still trying to give birth dates and trying to get their tonali. And we're going to make that available for them.
And I'll tell you right now, thank you very much, because we did get quite a bit of requests. So be patient. You know,
Yes.
we're working on them,
And they take time.
But here's one thing special. And what you were saying before, all the stuff that we learn, all the stuff that we apply, sometimes like we fall off the wagon, you know, off the wagon of the calendar,
right?
You know, and stuff like that. Well, guess what? Like, and you said already, anytime, just get back in it.
Yeah,
that's it. Because I know it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
you know. Okay, well, I dropped off, and you got to find out what date it was or whatever, but get back in it because it continues. You know. So very simple. Very simple. Every day has a mission and a purpose to accomplish. And every day has potentials and qualities, and you want to call them energies or whatever, that help fulfill that mission. That's what the companions are of the day signs.
Right.
You know?
Like nine flower.
Exactly. And the flower with Xochiquetzali. Okay. Today the Zipacli with Tonacatecutli.
Right.
Tomorrow I got the wind with Quetzalcoatl. Wow. So in other words, everyone has a respectable cosmic companion, Ilhuicapocintli. And that is the potential that exists in the piece of time to fulfill the mission. Okay, so it's very, super important. But let's get back to the, get back to class.
Absolutely.
Class, get back to class. Vamos a ver. Because we're going to get back to this right here.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because
this one's a little bigger. I could read this.
The reason we came back to this is very simple, and thank you. I wrote you one of my emails, or my text. I said, hey, thank you for respecting la cultura. See? And that way, and I explained it. The respect was, you know, when you can say, hey, I want to know more, you know, or I thought I knew it, but let me see what else is there, you know. And that was that's very important, because that's what it's about. So our method of teaching that we want to teach our children to learn to love to learn. Okay, that's the key. Learn to love to learn. And guess what? When they get into the calendario, stuff like that, they want to learn that stuff. They want to, you know. Okay, so let's make it easy for them. Let's make it for them. So part of our work is going into curriculum, you know.
Yes.
Right. So if there's any teachers out there who really know how to write this curriculum for their school or lesson plan, stuff like that, get a hold of us so we can
start
working,
do the work,
you know, and stuff like that. Okay, so
I could even take it one just before you go on. Look, I know as a father that has a 5-year-old, that has other, you know, teenage boys, I know for one thing, I'm going to take responsibility and make flashcards myself of these 20-day signs and sit there with my son and learn them myself, me and him, a connection between father and son.
Yep.
And learning that. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, like I'm talking about like making a copy and then going, and sitting there and going, okay, but what is it? What does it do? What is his energy? What's today? Tuesday is this, so we need to look like it. And you know, it's I've done that because Miklapili has a calendar one where it's like Tuesday and it shows the sign and you know, it just repeats. I like your version of it because you have to take responsibility to pick up the book, open it up, write in your Senpoali, and it's just a beautiful experience.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's why we added the Senpoali right in the back.
Right.
So that you don't so you don't miss out. You know, your 20 days. Work on them. You know, use them. You know, whatever it is. I saw a rabbit today. Whatever it is you saw.
Yeah.
Just to not lose track. In other words, you got to keep responsibility.
It is a responsibility.
But getting back to
Absolutely.
the Tonalmachiotl, the pattern of the sun. You know, I'm really interested in the symbols. What we did here, if you just follow the lines, you know, and you can see each one of these lines where they go to. Okay, on this calendar right here. Okay, let me tell you why I made this calendar. I made this calendar because when I first started going to Mexico City, to Mexico Tenochtitlan, you know, and with the danzantes, the dancers, you know, beautiful, incredible, man. That blew my mind. That's why I had to be around there. But after every dance, right, after they finished, they would pass out a piece of paper that they got from the museum, okay? And they would talk all about the calendar, explain what it was and this and that. But they would say, you know what, this is not true. That's not really the sun god's gonna eat you up. You know what, this is not true here. But then they would pass the paper out. And I said, why are you passing that paper out, man? You know? He goes, yeah, because I'm telling them. He goes, yeah, but you're not gonna go home with them and tell the next guy or the other guy. Right. You know? So we started looking into it. We started getting information. Okay. And the people that we have mentioned in our books, you know, in our as that I credit, for the work we've done, right? You know, which are Andrés Segura, en paz descanse, Mariano Leiva, en paz descanse, Arturo Mesa Gutiérrez, Tlacatzin Stivelet, Chochime, Don Álvaro Rocha, Choconochtlet, Teucli, Acamapixli, and of course Ernesto Sheye Coat, right? DNA, right? And so these people, you know, they all use some of this information. So they would gather from each one of those, you know, the information, you know, that they have to agree with the other one who said that, you know. Right. Said that about that, yeah, okay. In other words, we found the common.
Well, they had to agree right here too.
We found the common factor, you know,
right?
And that's what this is about. So the stuff that we put here, that's why we put this together and say, you know what, okay, now pass this one out.
Right.
And sure enough, they sure did pass them out. I would go see them right there. I have to buy one sometimes. You know?
But it's yours.
It's there. It's there.
Right.
In other words, the information here, you know, we have it, you know, pretty well verified. Like I said, we just barely touched the top. A 13-day cycle up there. You know?
Wow. We just hit one.
All right.
That's it.
Right. So you want to go ahead and take the crocodile, because we're going to go into the...
So it says se.
He's going to put it up there so people can see it.
Okay.
Sesipakli?
Sesipakli. The date, one crocodile. The house graphic is upon the base that represents the butterfly potential.
Pictorial.
Pictorial of Xutecutli.
Yeah. Remember when we saw the Toltec?
Right.
Okay. And the thing that he had on his breast?
Oh, okay, yes.
That's Xutecutli.
Oh, the butterfly.
The symbol of butterfly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and see, and that's right. Supposedly Toltec, something different than the Aztec, or you know, so in other words, it's all
It's interconnected. The guide of the turquoise blue fire. Okay, Xutecutli. The guide of the blue turquoise fire that comes from above. I'm not gonna shoot. Xutecutli is always the guide of the day and the night and the number 20. Number 1.
So in other words, recall that we have guides of the day and guides of the night.
Guides of the day, and guides of the night.
So the first one of the 13 guides of the day, they go with the numbers, is Xutecutli. And the first guide of the night, of the 9 guides of the night, is also Xutecutli.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
okay.
Gets around.
It's synced in that way. Wow.
Okay, and it's over here. It is right here. right here on this part. See?
This is Shutaku.
Yep. This right here is the number 1, the head of a crocodile. Right here is the pectoral, like a butterfly pectoral right here. See? And so this right here represents the date. So whenever it is the date of the flint, say take back 1 flint, every year the date would always be 1 crocodile. In other words, that's how the count would just fall on it, and it would be 1 crocodile whenever year 1 flint. So there are the many different numbers. When I told you earlier about how this also represented 1323, so that'd be 1323, and then after the reed comes the flint, right? So that'll be 1323, 1324, 1325. They say the foundation of Mexico Tenochtitlan, 26, 27, and 28. That will make it 5. See, that's 13. That will make that 1 flint, right? It starts over the count. And then 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's why 2012 was also the year 5 flint. In other words, everything just fell so syncly into it, you know.
Because they finished this petroglyph of a date that they synced. Well, that's how we were able to put a place and then use this date is important, so that it stays on this 1 flint count that always lands on.
Right, but you need to know, right, that 1 flint comes after 13 reed, right? That's why the simplest things that we're doing, you know, okay.
Right.
So, because remember the years, or on where these points are at. Okay, the house, the rabbit, the reed, and the flint, the 4-year sign, see?
Right.
Okay, so you need to know the numbering of the years. See, after the reed comes the flint, you know?
Right.
So when you see 13 reed, you know the next number is going to be 1 flint, and then 2 house, 3 rabbit, 4 reed, and 5 flint. Like I said, that repeated again in 2012. And before 2012, 8 years before, okay, in 2004, okay, 8 years before, you know, Venus crossed the face of the sun. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, on June, I believe June the 8th. And then 12 years later, it did it again. I mean, 8 years later, it did it again on June the 5th of 2012. So Venus has a transit. When it goes across the face of the sun, instead of behind it or over it, you know, of 8 years. It'll do it once, and then it'll do it again in 8 years.
Wow.
And then it'll disappear. And it won't be back for 112 years before that happens again. And then it'll be 8 year cycles, and then gone. Yeah. So that's precision that they had. Yeah, that they had to the calendar system. You know. So those are the numbers. 13. Okay. So that's where we began. And right now you just spoke about this part of the calendar right here.
Right.
You know?
Which
is the date 1 crocodile.
1 crocodile.
Okay. So let's go to the other side. That one, Setekpat.
That's 1 flint. The year 2000, with the mirror of Tetzcatlipoca representing the memory and the awakening through
thought,
yeah, is also the year 1324. I have a little stain on mine.
Yeah.
When it was decided to build the great Mexico Tenochtitlan in the center of the lake. You want to read the bottom too?
Yes.
At the moon, our grandfathers tell us that the return to continue and finish, I can't read this.
The headquarters of
the headquarters of the Confederation of the Eagle and the Condor, Anahuac Tehuantinsuyu.
Right. So another word.
Oh shoot! So Setekpa was the day, the year that this Eagle and the Condor Confederation happened. Or that's what you're telling me.
Yes. that it was decided, okay, because they give us 1325 as the foundation of Mexico City. That's why we're celebrating now 400 and something years of that. But they give us that date. However, they found pieces older than that, right, in Mexico City. You know, as they were digging, you know.
Right.
And we know that they would dig, that they would build on top of another pyramid, another layer, and on top another pyramid, another layer. As you can see very clearly in Tlatelolco, right? There's cut.
Right.
You can see that, oh, that layer was in, 1,000 years ago, then this layer was 500 years ago, then this layer like that. So it doesn't add up, you know. That's when they actually build Mexico Tenochtitlan, right?
Because it doesn't sequence with this.
And it doesn't sequence with this. However, 1323 into 1328, if you take back 260 years, okay?
260 years.
Go back 260 years, okay? It'll bring you to a time of when they found the evidence in Xochicalco, right? Of a time of time between the Maya and the Aztec calendars, you know, in Xochicalco.
Wow.
Okay. So in other words, yeah, all these things they fall into place when you get to see more of the puzzle,
right?
Or actually, when you've seen the big picture,
right?
You get an idea, but then we don't got the big picture yet,
right?
You know, so we got a good chunk of it, and we're moving in that direction. You know, that's why I mentioned that the grandfathers, you know, when he was able to see the work we did. He said it's a good way to manage the count. Okay? And that was when we were talking about this, right? And we said, okay, cool. That's all we need to know.
Right.
Not the only way or the best way, maybe, but it's a good way to manage the count, and that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to get precise here.
Right.
You know, and I believe that a lot of people who have different perspectives or ideas on this can also join in, you know, to help put it together.
Right.
Because that's how they did it, you know.
Right.
Okay. Nobody did it by themselves. You know?
Right.
And neither can we.
Yes. And that just inspires the community to, one, if you can find your tonali and take responsibility and apply your energy. They're very simple philosophies that you can apply very simply, very quickly. Right? It's not like you said, the simplicity of it is not.
And you're probably
difficult.
you're doing it mostly all already.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not as organized or as synced as you might think, but mostly you're doing it all already. I'm telling people, that's why I call it a reintroduction to your cosmic identity, because I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about you according to this potential.
Right.
So it's not even you or me, right? It's the potential and the piece of time.
Right.
So you want it, go for it. You know, it's there. You know?
Yes.
But don't forget, I go for it too. When that day comes, I'll jump on it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody has an equal
That's right.
chance at using those energies.
Yeah. Remember the word in Espanol, granjear. Right? Apreciar. Be thankful. Granjear. But
I know what you mean when you said that. When I can also take advantage of this, because on I didn't know the number actually. On the day of the Jaguar, I went for a 3-mile run. And I just kept saying in that 3-mile run, when I wanted to give up, I got to be relentless. And I'm focused. And I need to finish this run. I cannot quit. I need to keep going. And I finished without a problem. It was like I'm using that force, right? Be relentless, be focused, and finish. It was amazing.
Así es.
That's amazing.
Así es. Okay, so we just pointed to the two pieces of the calendar, okay? That's on both sides of the point, up there on top of the head, right?
We've just gotten there.
Yeah.
One tekpat and one
crocodile.
And one crocodile.
Sipakli.
One sipak.
And today's the day of the crocodile, but we're number 9 today.
9.
So we're 9 crocodile today.
9 crocodile.
But you see, so the year 2000 was the beginning as well. So in 1999, right? You know, it was something big coming, because it was the end of 13 years of Reed that started in 1987. Okay, so we go back 13 years. In other words, we can see the movements that were happening even in Mexico Tenochtitlan. It was about that time, almost 13 years ago. So this hasn't happened forever. It was
What is that? Tito?
Let me get the rooster over here.
Oh, okay. No worries. This is amazing. I mean, it's all this information is sinking in. All this information is sinking in and falling into place, and it does take effort and it does take responsibility to utilize it in a fashion like you would, like if you're really an exercise and hitting the gym consistently. Like I wake up and I go to the gym and I do this routine daily because I like my body the way it is and blah blah blah. If you apply that same effort, it doesn't require hours and hours of your day. It's today's this. Sinking with it, sinking in with nature, and following that something left to you, right? Sipakli.
See how long it takes, how much it requires in a day.
Right. Crocodile, the beginning of evolution. The living beings. I can't see it. The initial number 1, even with the number that follows.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call my friend Doctor the optometrist.
Dude, you have to because I need to get some better glasses.
Yeah, well, I'm only trying to get a brand new one right now.
Well, hook up.
I passed by the dollar store today. Anyway, Sipakli, crocodile, the beginning of evolution of all living beings.
Right.
The initiator. Number one, even with no number two. Okay. In other words, 1,000 people or nobody but you. Go for it.
Right.
Okay. It says, watch, follow, or wait, but get out of the way.
Right.
I actually got that from my older brother. He was like that. He was Sipakli. And he would tell me, hey, come on, or wait for me. Get out of my way. I'm out.
Right.
All right.
Right.
You know? And he's guided by Xochipilli as Tonacatecutli and Tonacasiwat, duality, which represents photosynthesis. And check it out, it's the male and female rays of the sun.
Wow.
Through the plants to give us life.
Wow.
That's how long that takes. Tomorrow, before you go to work or sing your kids to school, Heka, the wind, the breath of life, and the medium of all living beings. It carries the sound and scatters the pollen. It symbolizes harmony and creativity.
Right.
So that's the mission.
You know, these explanations, and I also have to explain too, I'm also severely dyslexic, so I have a hard time reading. It takes me a long time. But that's okay. I'm not afraid of it or ashamed of it. But when I read these energies at home and I try to apply them, it's like an introduction, like the wind carries the pollen, but then you start thinking, wow, okay, it starts carrying the pollen, but it also blows things down, and it also sheds.
It becomes like that. Now what? See, so you're thinking now what? Now you're not thinking of just one word. You're not just translating. Now you're thinking of all these things that come from that one word.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. is I try to go in depth. I tell my son, today's the wind. But don't just think of the wind. What else comes with the wind? It could be cold. The wind could be cold. It could be strong. It could be gentle. And you just start going into so many different aspects of the wind and applying that energy, right? That's the way I've been.
Like we said last time, when someone finds, right, or correlates their own birthday and stuff like that, well, then it behooves them to get into that and find out more information about that. Not necessarily all the time what the books say or what somebody says about it. Like, for example, if I'm going to tell you about the jaguar, don't necessarily only go after what
this explanation is, just that little.
No, what I'm saying, what the Castillo or some of these other people talk about the Aztek equivalents of this stuff. Forget that. Right. Go look at a jaguar. Go see a jaguar. Meet a jaguar. Talk to a jaguar. Go and see a jaguar, man.
Right.
See how he is. Study a jaguar. Find out what's up. In other words, so you're right. My mission, a reintroduction to your cosmic identity and responsibility. That's my mission. So I'm trying to reintroduce you.
Right.
Because you already have this inside you.
Right.
It runs in your veins. And not just because you're Mexica, because you're human, it runs in your veins. It's a human thing.
Right. It's not an Aztec thing. It's not an Indian thing. It's not anything but.
What do you think, Armando, so far? Where we at?
It's only encouraging me to like really dive in deep to this stuff and to catch up on the time that I missed out on not understanding my identity that's in this Aztec calendar. You know?
That's a mouthful because Armando isn't as in depth as, say, not to take anything away from him, but like in 99 is when I started my journey on this. In 1999, I started picking up books and reading and meeting you and getting my name and trying to follow as best as I can with whatever was given there. And to hear Mondo say that, that is a powerful statement.
But to be honest, Mazatzin, what shook me the most is like how you said it's always been staring at me.
It's always been there.
Mazatzin. That was hard. That shook me when you mentioned that today.
Because you realized that.
Because I could only imagine how many other people could relate with my situation where it's always been looking at me like that story, right? Zero, that my dad
trying to get the calendar in his car.
And then he had us help him put it on the wall, and then it was on that wall for like I was mentioning to Zero, like over 10, 15 years.
It had its place all the time.
And I don't even think my father even knew what.
But he did know one thing.
But my father's from Michoacan, La Ruana, you know, he just like...
Pero he knew one thing, man, that it had to do with him. ¿Me entiendes? It had to do with him. Just like I knew when I was a kid. You know, I mean, whatever. It had to do with me.
Something about that.
Yeah, because it follows me around everywhere I go, you know. So in other words, that's one thing that the people knew, our abuelos and stuff like that. They love it, you know. They love it because... And everybody tells me, hey, you know what, I got one. And they show little keychains and things like this. You know, but now they can appreciate it a little more, you know.
Right.
But you know what? It's very important what you said, Armando. You know, that's so important because someone wrote to me one time, many people with the same kind of idea, and they said, tell me who I am. Because I thought I was being an Aztec when I did this and this and that. You know, but now I realize, you know, that I got like people following my footsteps, you know. So let me try to show them, you know, how to be an Aztec, right? You know, and I would say, orale, if you use it for this, I'll share with you, ¿entiendes? Because we're using it for the purpose of I call it the resurgence of a Nahuac. Okay, that's what I do it for. Okay, I'm trying to contribute the building blocks, like I said, you know, mending the hoop, you know, putting people in that hoop, you know, to rebuild again, you know, what was, you know, torn down. And I'm not interested or do I have time, like to fight with who did it or why they did it, all that kind of stuff. That's beside the point.
Right.
We can do that some other year, but this year is for rebuilding.
Right.
This year is a fulfillment of the promise, you know.
Right.
You know, I want the sun to see us unified, you know, in something, you know.
And I like that you explained it in that way. I just want to do my work. I want to go to my work. It sounds like our grandfathers for the past. My grandfather came in the 30s to Los Angeles. He helped build Cal State LA. Then he jumped on another job and helped build this other place, and then helped build the freeway and help do this and help. And then he got bored and became a mechanic, and now he's helping the kids learn how to be a mechanic. It's the work. No matter how much we did work that they didn't even, they just robbed us. They're like, oh, wow, give him whatever. Yeah. And we still did the work. That's right. Because we sat back and we said, look, the building that we just built, like we did the work.
That's right.
And this work right here is different. This work here is to connect you with your children. You find a little glimpse of how they are. Connect you with nature.
In other words, I think a good point is this. One time we were getting do the mural that we did in Salinas, California. Right, we wanted to do it at a high school, you know? But some of the people in the high school didn't want it. You know, they said it was too Mexican, ¿me you know. And I remember, and one student who had actually been expelled from school, he asked permission to come that day because he wanted to come to the meeting. They were talking about the mural. And the student he told that one student who complained, he goes, you know what? He goes, this calendar makes me respect you. You know what I mean? You know, this calendar makes me respect you. He goes, you think it's too Mexican? He goes, it's not Mexican enough. ¿Me entiendes? You know, because what do we say? Mi casa es tu casa. Right. It's really saying, hey, I'm you, you're me.
Yeah.
Aquí está tu casa. You know.
Right.
You know. And so in other words,
tu casa.
Yeah, it's not just it's not just a saying.
Yeah.
It's the law of the land.
Wow. Yeah. The law of the land. What a beautiful concept. To understand that time ties us together in that way. And these energies are placed there by thousands of years of observation.
I was going to tell you one more thing, Armando. One time also, this young lady, daughter of a friend of mine, was just barely getting ready to graduate from San Francisco, San Pancho State University. And, you know, when he ran into my calendar, right, and he invited me to his home, and we had dinner and stuff like that, and we were at the table, and he's looking at all this, getting all excited about it and everything. And the daughter was there, of course, and she sat down, we were having dinner, and she started asking questions too. And she looked at her dad and says, like, what is this, you know? She was really pissed off, man. ¿Entiendes? She goes, I'm getting ready to graduate, you know? And I don't know this, you know? I mean, she felt bad about it, you know? So one time I told the story, I was coming from Mexico City, sitting next to a guy who happened to be from nuclear science of UNAM, you know? And he freaked out too, okay? And so I tell people, you don't got to be a nuclear scientist to learn this. In fact, it doesn't help, you know? Okay.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Me too.
It doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help, okay? Because they have not gone to the most simplest of things, okay? The most simplest of things. And we're going to get to that part right now because we're going to run out of time, I'm sure, you know? And that is the 4 squares.
Okay, the 4 squares.
Those 4 squares there. Maybe Armando wants to read those 4 squares. You got yours?
So
the 4 squares would be
the 4 squares around the
there's a line directly to
hey, first put that one up there. I mean put it back up there.
Put the sample right back up on the screen.
Yeah.
Now don't mind the watermark. That's just a commercial sample. If you guys want to get the poster, just visit Mazatzin's website and you guys can order it right away.
We're going to make it available as best as we can. We're going to have...
And that's our goal, right, Zero? Just make it available to our community.
We need it.
To build Mazatzin's platform even larger than what it is.
It's needed.
But
we have a clear mission.
I always tell people, don't help me. You know, help yourself. Here.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's put it up there. Okay, there we go.
So are we talking about the eagle representing the sun, the break of the eagle, the claws of the eagle, and the tail feathers of the eagle?
Okay, you can do that one. Can you see that one? And by the one, 2 above it, Tonalmachiotl. Right there. Okay. The son
of wind.
The son of wind.
The vital element air, the direction west.
That's the top square up on the top. If you're looking at it, it's on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Okay, that's the wind, the symbol of the wind. Okay. Remember the 20 days? We have the 20 days also, right?
Yes.
That other square circle around it. And there's the wind, number 2. It'll be tomorrow, actually, the day of the wind.
Wow.
Okay. But the one square, it represents the wind. Go to the other square on the other side. Ocelot.
Ocelotonato.
Son of the jaguar, the vital element earth, the direction north.
Mictlampa.
Mictlampa, the dark horn, and the black human.
How's that, huh?
Wow.
Okay. Now go back to the bottom left. Go ahead. 0, bottom left. You got it?
Yeah.
Kiawit.
Eagle, representing the sun, the bear, the break of the eagle, the beak of the eagle, the claws of the eagle, and the the tail feathers of the eagle.
Okay, that's one there where you see the point on top of the head.
Right.
Right, the claws on the both sides, the yellow ones.
Right.
Right, and then down below, beneath the tongue. Yeah. Okay. So here's the beak. Right. Here's the claw. And here's the tail feather. So There's an eagle superimposed over the face of the earth. Now, let's go to the bottom square. Bottom left square. Kiawitlet. Yeah, the bottom right square on the left-hand side over there.
On this side?
Yeah. That's the sun of rain.
The sun and rain of fire, the vital element fire, also the direction south.
Huitzlampa.
Huitzlampa. The red corn and the red human of this continent.
Chingon, huh?
What?
Look at, now do this one here. Shupapalot. Right under a hekat. Because you already talked about the eagle that's on there. Now talk about the butterfly.
The butterfly, which was on the Toltec shield, right? And it's Shupapalo, turquoise blue fire butterfly. The four squares surrounding the face, representing the wings of the butterfly, which is always in the center of the cosmos over Mexico Tenochtitlan, symbolizing the movement of the what? The transformation. Wow. What the? It sits above.
Okay, so here. So this right here will be the beak of the eagle.
Right.
The claws of the eagle.
The claws of the eagle.
The tail feathers of the eagle.
The tail feathers of the eagle.
And the 4 squares, they represent.
The 4 squares represent
stylistically
the wings of a butterfly.
So
the symbol.
is
Olin. Movement. Wow. Wow. It's called 4 movement. Now we Olin. Right. Wow. That's a date.
And the date here is July 26th of 2004.
In 2004. So it was July 28, 2004. This, huh? July 26, 2008 is the date imprinted on that calendar.
Wow, and my birthday is July 26th.
July 26th is your birthday?
Yep.
Yeah, so July 26th, okay? On this year, it was on this day.
Olin.
Of the year 2012, which was the year 5 Flint. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So here it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
Flint.
Oh,
And it was a day for movement.
4
On
movement.
that day. And here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, all in the movement.
Wow.
So this is the day when the sun passes directly above Mexico City and there's no shadow, right? That we've been
Oh, wow.
following that day on the zenith passage.
Can you say that again on the mic?
This is the day that the sun passes over Mexico Tenochtitlan and the zenith, the second zenith passage. The first zenith passage will be in May, and it will actually be on the day of the Calavera, Miquistli.
Wow.
Which is also carved in stone, okay, and the same stone they call the foundation stone. So on one side it's got Semiquistli, one skull, on the other side it's got Setekpat, one flint. You know, okay, and that was carved on there, just like up there, one flint as well.
Wow.
So these are dates that are carved in stone. So when they put together that foundation stone, they call it, and they placed it there, they foresaw. Okay, I'm not talking about predictions or prophecies, but they foresaw that on this day, on a particular day like this one, there will be a celebration. And you know what? There was a celebration in Mexico Tenochtitlan on July 26th of 2012 on the year 4 movement of the on the day 4 movement of the year 5 Flint. So because we're doing it. I had said last time also, I believe I said that, I kind of feel like we're missing something because we don't have all that real connection to the earth and to the people. Look where we're at. We're far away from even Mexico, Tenochtitlan.
Right.
But you know what? We do have them, right? Because we got them around us by our uncles, our families, our tias, our grandmothers, They're around us,
Right,
people
right.
working, But we need to make that connection or to keep that connection, And like right now what's going on over there in Santana, people are there because that's the reality, And those people need to know that somebody cares for them and helping them out,
Right.
I wanted to mention also the other event that's going to be happening right now, pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
The one about the kids in cages.
The more kids
Yes.
in cages.
You know, and that's on the 24th. It'll be Saturday. Saturday. So we're going to try to also to participate with this event.
Absolutely.
I think it's very important. So all the work that's being done, it's going to come down to this cosmic identity.
Right.
So this is on Saturday, April 24th.
Right. Okay.
At Ganesha Park in Pomona.
That's the one.
Yeah. We were just talking about that, right, Zero? That there's something in Pomona going on.
Exactly.
But there it is. Listen, it's the people coming back it up. Because I was saying one proposal that I did. I'm going to call it a proposal was that wherever those centers are at, right, where the children are at. Let's talk a little bit about that for a second. But wherever they're at, first of all, two things. We can't get too far ahead, without really know what's going on, and so we can move ahead together, okay? And we cannot look at somebody as the enemy and expect to work with them. And you can't look at them as the enemy and say, I'll never work with them either, because it might be necessary, okay? And so that's real important. So see where we're at. That's my hope. Let's see where we're at, and what do we need to do? How can we help? And one thing that I would suggest is that the communities who are around these centers where these children are being kept, these youth are being kept,
yes,
that the communities have access to them in some way, maybe even to come and present something. In other words, keep them in the loop of what's going on. And not just segregated and separated. Okay, that's the important part. I think the community should take responsibility. Could take responsibilities. They would know that people want to help. So in other words, I think we need to work with them. We need to find out, what's going on. There's something here that's not right. So we need to change some rules, some laws, and stuff like that. We need to work.
Yeah, and as you say that, I have very different perspective about them. I have very different perspective about them because I felt like I tapped in to how and what they are and what they've done. But instead of being angry, instead of, like you said, not organized in a fashion like this is organization. You pointed out a date that I followed my own self during that time. I didn't know that it was the date on the calendar and how it applied, but that's my point. We need to get back into studying this and applying it to our work that we're doing,
Right.
which is this.
Exactly.
If we do that, then we stop fighting. Then we stop disagreeing. We're all in agreement that time is important, that time has energy, and that we need to flow like the Nahuatl language, like the water.
Running water.
If we can flow together like running water and tackle on things like this, then we will be massively effective. But it starts with this, because it's always been there. It's always been there. I can't remember a time. My grandmother was super Christian, but that was there. It was there. Super, ultra, but it was there. My cousin, do you know what this is? This is this, that, and the other. And you said there was always that light on. There was always a candle. There was always a direction. And we have tools and we have a direction.
And we have one more square oh yeah, Big Brother gonna read the last square. Bottom left.
Which one is the last one?
I think it's Ant.
Bottom left.
Ant.
Oh, Atonatu, yes.
Son of water, the vital element water, the direction east.
How would you Tlahuizcalpantecutli?
Tlahuiz.
No, is that it?
East, Tlahuiztlampa.
Tlahuiztlampa.
The white corn and the white human.
Okay, so our grandfathers, they were teaching us a lot of the information here, right? They told us, hey, this is the color of the corn. You know, there's the black, the yellow, the red, and the white. Okay, and that is known like throughout the continent that I've been at, and people up there say that, and people down south say that. You know, okay?
Right.
The maize, you know, it's the people, it's the color of the people. Andres Segura taught that. You know, concepts. Those are good concepts. You know, idea represents everybody.
Right.
So in other words, it's not an Aztek thing. It's an everybody thing.
It's a continent thing.
It's a human thing.
We were just talking about that, huh, Zero?
Yeah.
How it's for everybody.
It's not the black man, the red man.
Remember, okay.
The white man.
I call it the most beautiful Tonalmachiotl and the largest that we have in San Pancho. Okay. You know how they got there? Okay. They got there because the lady that was the president of the Works of Arts Committee of San Francisco City College, right, came to my workshop, right? And when I got done, she came up and told me, Maestro, we have a big problem here. We're building a brand new campus, the most newest in California, you know, and a blankety blank, and we want to put an Aztek calendar there. We even got the circle already, but people are complaining. I said, who's complaining? She goes, the Hispanics are complaining. The Hispanics are complaining, why? They go, because it's too Mexican. It doesn't show Nicaragua, it doesn't show Peru, it doesn't show Ecuador.
Fighting.
And then she says, by hearing you talk, you said it represents the whole continent. And then she said, and I'm Jewish, and I feel represented too there. Okay? Wow. And that's when I say, well, you know what? It's not an Aztek thing or Mexican thing. It's a human thing. You know? In other words, that's the key. That's the concept. That's the most, to me, it's the most important concept. Because guess what? It's a living being thing. You know, we share with condors and rabbits and lizards, and you know, we share this space. You know, so from what I've gathered so far, almost everything that exists upon the face of the earth is in those 20-day signs. You know, plus also many other things that are not even. There's only 10 animals. People will tell me, "What's my animal?" Okay, I don't know. What's your animal? You know, you know. But it's not just animals. You know. And it's not necessarily the animal, right? But what the animal represents.
Right.
So remember, these are all archetypes, you know, and they can have many, 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 many different, you know, following. So right now, what do we have? The 4 squares.
Right.
The earth, the wind, the fire, and the water. Those 4 elements: earth, wind, fire, and water. That's the most basic and most important thing we can share with the young people. That today we cannot even give them a clean glass of water, you know. Okay. But if we teach them once again to respect these elements that give life, that's where life comes from, you know?
Earth, water, wind.
The 4 elements, and it's known throughout. The color of the corn, we saw the other day on the head of the one person, the 4 colors of the corn. You know, centeio. You know? And so in other words, once you say earth, wind, fire, and water, guess what? Automatically, it becomes a science thing. Right? It's about science. It's about the elements that give life. You know, it's not superstition. It's not boogeyman. It's not cucuys, nothing like that. You know, so these are the most simple things. So today we've only learned a little bit. We just learned the 2 pieces that are up there on top of the calendar, right?
Right.
And we saw the 4 elements.
Setekpat, Sesipak.
Yeah.
We know. Well, we also learned that this is a date. Right.
Yeah, this is the symbol of Olin movement.
And the symbol of Olin movement, which is
the symbol of 4 movement.
And it's also a butterfly.
And 5 flower. 5 eagle, and 5 flint.
5.
Yeah. So
and guys, for everyone tuning in, this has been such an amazing lesson here. We have a comment here from Himalayan Queen. Lesson of the day: precision, not perfection.
Precision, routine.
Exactly. In other words, like, can we get along? Yeah, we can get along if we don't get into each other, you know? That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And seeing yourself in the other one.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
and we still have a good audience tuning in, sitting down with us, enjoying this amazing conversation tonight.
Well, we have plans with Mazatzin to go into depth further, recording it and making it available to people. We'll talk the details about it with him. But today we learned so much, and
keep in mind, this is just an introduction.
This is an introduction. This is like reading the just the preface of of the book. It's not even in depth or practical uses of it. These energies are.
The energy is taking the poster off our wall,
Well,
guys.
maybe our audience is going like brain overload. Like, okay, let me digest what just came through. But I want to just thank you once again, Uncle Mazatzin, for coming, being humble, being very clear and precise, and affecting us, and everything around you. This is the beginning of a very important thing that's come to me. And our job as LA natives, as Malinali Superfoods, is to contribute to this. Not building it, but finding my ray of sun, being one hair on that spider, and affecting everyone around me, using this great Tonalmachiotl.
Interesting you say that about the ray of sun. So one of my maestros, Álvaro Rocha, incredible man from Durango. He became world famous because he created the biggest clock in the world.
Wow.
Which was a stone, a rock, right? A rock that had a hole in it, and he looked through there and he saw the sky moving, and then he would later work with that rock and made the hole bigger and put a glass in the back of it, and he could see the constellations moving,
wow,
through that hole in the rock.
Wow.
Álvaro Rocha.
Wow.
And but anyway, he was very interesting. But he tells us that each one of us has he called it an hilito, like a little string, a little thread.
Wow.
A little golden thread that is tied to the sun and comes directly to us, And that way, when we walk, when we work together, right? We cross each other, and we're like weaving, right? And the light is bright, right? And it's beautiful, bright light moving. But when we don't work together, right? There's spaces, It's kind of dark and people
can fall through.
Yeah. So in other words, but once people
we got to make
together,
the net like the Maya.
Right. So we got to be, exactly. So everybody contributes.
It was
the Mayab.
Mayab.
Yeah. And become that net,
Yeah.
So in other words, like we said before, we're also weaving. We're weaving right now.
Yeah.
Remember we said we reach a piece of that spider, but we're also together all weaving. The beautiful tapestry is going to be all of us. Because like we said, mending the hoop is everybody's business.
Yeah.
Everybody's business. Yeah. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. No kids in cages. That's a small thing. We have how many of those issues do we have? Many of the ones we just heard about in Santa Ana. So, but that's what it's about. So we can't separate that. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I guess I've never been able to do is separate. What's really going on here. With this. It can't be just like I said, a pretty face.
No.
It can't be just a tattoo.
A cool name.
A tattoo that I have.
A cool name.
But it's got to be okay. Give me responsibilities.
That little string.
At least for myself.
Well, that's a string. That's the string that they're talking about.
That's right.
That's the responsibility. Here's your gift. Here's your energy.
And it's made of gold.
And it's made of the ray of the sun.
Yeah, because it comes right from when the sun sweats. That's right.
Right. And we're all. That's such a. I felt the emotion when you said that. When you grow up with 500 years of interhistorical trauma, and you clear it up with a beautiful explanation by a great maestro, put it into the greatest metaphor.
Yeah.
Imagine everyone's heart string from the sun weaving together to free kids in cages with the responsibility.
So we have to come up with concrete proposals, okay?
Yeah.
We come up with plans, ideas, plans, and just throw them out, put them on there, put them on there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relentless work.
Yeah, that's right.
Relentlessly work.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were that way too.
Yeah.
What was that saying? Toma tu tiempo porque tenemos prisa.
Oh yeah, yes. My father would say despacio porque tenemos prisa.
Despacio porque tenemos
so,
prisa.
So go slow. Go slow because we're in a big hurry and we don't got time to do it over. Or
we have to be precise like the Toltec.
I want to just let all the audience know I won't be able to sleep at night because the only thing I'm going to be thinking about is like, it's been looking at me the whole time. It's been following me around the whole time.
Is that cool? It's such a joy to understand that little Hilito has always been there, man. Like, now to recognize, now put it to action. What is it, the action? What's the action behind it? How are we going to create? How are we going to contribute to the grand vision of our great abuelo?
That's right. How can we help fulfill the dream?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to fulfill his dream. Okay. Otherwise, we can't dream our own or offer our children their dream. So until we fulfill that dream, okay.
Yeah.
And that dream is just humanity. It's just someday the sun will look at us again and see dignified to return. What does that mean? It doesn't just mean Chicanos and raza and us, bro.
No.
It means humans will no longer be doing what's happening,
Yeah.
and the sun will smile on us again, and then we can begin, and that's what I think. So it's very super important, to realize that we can't fix everything. We can't fix everything. All we can do is get mad or get hurt or try to get even. We can't fix everything. So we need the people. We need those people who made that damage to take a step towards it, Okay? Responsibility. So in other words, so we need to reach those people, right? And how do we reach them? We said before, how do we reach them? Well, through their children, because they're in their children. That's them. So we reach them, we take care of them. We teach our kids to respect those kids. In other words, that's all we can offer them,
Yeah.
That we're all one. It's only one.
Right.
Wow. And you know what? We just had an influx of about a new 15 people joining us, and man, they just missed out on one of the most amazing conversations we've had. Right, Zero? And our audience could still be here for another 2-3 hours, but we have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's just such an amazing segment.
Well, put it this way. Okay. Get right down to the nitty gritty. Why? Because it's in you. Okay, it's in you. I mean, you're recognizing it now. I mean,
Yes.
in other words, you're recognizing yourself on there now. Okay, at least a little bit. You can, hey, wow, I'm part of it. I'm part of this. Somehow I'm part of this.
Right.
And that's what I saw. That's what I saw when when I was a kid. I couldn't get away from this. Yeah. So people say I'm a fanatic. I'm not.
But look at the destiny. Look at the responsibility.
I'll be the biggest fan, but
Yeah. But the responsibility is, I feel in my heart that we can only do what we can and contribute as much as we know. Right? You can't go somewhere if you don't know where you're going. But now you clearly know where you're going.
Okay, look at. I dropped a lot of stuff on you guys, right? And I do. A lot of times I feel like I got a just big bucket and I just dump it all, because I don't know if I'll get the chance to see you again and do it again, come to that point again, And I know somewhere down the line something's gonna shake that again and make you remember. So that's my thing, that like this, okay. But the bottom line is the simple things, that you gotta learn those 20 days,
Yes.
and walk those 20 days.
Yeah.
That's the simplest things that you can do.
Right.
And it doesn't gonna take a whole lot of time. We saw you can just read it in 2 minutes.
Right. And then
discuss it with somebody,
and then start thinking like an Aztec, because that just sparks your, like, to go, okay, today's one snake. Okay, cool. Like I told, we had your book and we were finding tonales with a guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a snake." Oh, and he kind of felt like bummed, right?
Yeah, you're a
He's like,
snake.
"Oh," and I was like, "Wait, though, look, snakes can see with their tongue. They're closest to the ground. They can climb trees." And he started opening up to he just started thinking of all the things he knew about a snake.
I hope he didn't run over there and start climbing that tree. Man.
No,
because sometimes, one time someone was born on the day Oxomatli, right? And it's the day of the monkey, They go, "Oh, man." I say, "Well, you don't have to call you monkey, tell him to call you Oso, for short."
Right.
But anyway,
right on.
remember, it's not about you, it's about time.
Right.
Okay? It's about time,
Right.
okay? So take advantage of that, okay? So I'll just tell you the one little one, okay? So I was in Sacramento, and the young kids invited me to City College. We had to talk and everything. And I finished. I did my presentation. It was a picnic, so I was kind of hurried because I wanted to eat. But anyway, we got to that point, right? Almost everybody, and but this one guy was kind of didn't believe, too much. You could see he wasn't buying what I was selling. And he goes, "Hey, so what about me? What about me? You forgot to mention me, right?" I had already told everybody's birthday because everybody was asking, right? But he wasn't asking, so.
You didn't tell him?
No. What about me? So what's your birthday? So I gave him his birthday. And he gave me his birthday, and I go, "Oh, you're born on the day of the dog, And he looked around, and everybody started laughing already. I said, "Somebody tell me something about the dog." And I go, "Oh, yeah, they like to scratch, they like trees." The guy was kind of upset a little bit,
Right.
And then somebody says, "No, they come on positive things, Oh, well, they're the best friend, right? They're a guide, they're a protector,
loyal,
loyal, and faithful, and the whole thing." He started getting a little more excited. And I go, "One thing about them, I go, they never forget where they come from. I go, and if you ever became the governor of California, you never forget where you come from." And I said, "It's easy for you because you're in Sacramento, right?"
Right.
And he goes, he just tripped out. He goes, "What?" And then later he's coming to tell me, he goes, "Hey," he goes, "Hey, Mazatzin." He goes, "Did Johnny tell you about me?" I go, "No, what about you?" He goes, "Well, man, just the other day," he goes, I was telling Johnny that I wanted to go to, I think St. Mary's or something, going to law school and stuff, and go into politics." And Johnny says, "What? You're going to be a vendido, man, like everybody else." He goes, "No, I won't. If I become the governor of California, I'll never forget where I come from." He goes, "I told Johnny just those words." I go, "Well, don't forget." And then he goes, "Hey, Mazatzin, so you got a school? Can I come with you?" And I said, "Down, boy, down. Sit, down, boy." Of course, I was just kidding, but nonetheless, I said, "No, you don't change. You don't change what you do. You don't change what you are." I go, "But except one thing now. Now you know more about yourself than the professor thinks he does know about you. ¿Entiendes? In other words, now you know your potential and your vámonos. So when they're giving you something, that's cool. Let's take it. But you have an extra. So what are we doing? The key, when I was telling about the Miro and Selena, the key was we're not trying to tell young people or anybody who they are or what they are or what they're not either. We're not trying to say, "No, you're not," or "Don't be that." None of that stuff. Go for it. Whatever. We're just trying to tell them you're also this. In other words, like you said, here's the gift. By the way, you have a gift. By the way, this comes from the sun, right to your heart. It's a gift. So you're who you are. You're what you are. You're where you're at. But you also have this that you can work with now.
Absolutely. But it's based on science. It's based on science. It's not mumbo jumbo. It's science. It's science. It's science, but talked or explained in a different way. It's not explained dry books and I looked at this thing for a long time in a microscope, and it's not that. It's truth. It's like truth. You were born at this time, and this gave you life. But what gives everything life? The sun. And if I have a string that's tied to the sun, wow. What an amazing.
Yeah, it makes it kind of special, huh? Let's go back up there to my page and see what's up, so they can see what's up. But thank you guys for all this hard work and good work you're doing. Good work.
We're just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is the beginning.
Trust me, man. We want to cover so much, and we definitely have plans. Right, Zero to
classes in session, man.
We have all of our LA native loyalists tuning in live with us. hanging out.
Wow.
We definitely need to wrap up, Zero.
Okay.
Man, such an amazing conversation. For anyone out there, we are going to be uploading Mazatzin's first segment and this segment onto our Spotify page shortly. Everyone's been asking for it.
Yeah. I think,
And we're going to be uploading Daniel's segment on Spotify as well.
Well, we have a lot of work to do. And
this Sunday, we got a legendary indigenous hip-hop producer, Nug Life, coming into the building. His billboards are everywhere in downtown LA.
Yes.
All right.
We're planning to reach out. Put the net out. Big net.
Cast a wide net.
Or cast a wide net. And then bring them back to basics. Which isn't basics.
Find the common thread.
Exactly.
Cast a wide net. Find the common thread.
And weave it together.
Don't panic.
Yeah.
Keep it organic. Okay, let's go to the time. Okay, if you go to the... Up on the
here
on the right there. What is this time?
Pacific.
The clock.
Oh, time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it.
Here we go.
Okay, and look at that's where we're at. What do you see? Right now.
April
21st, 2021, 8:41 p.m. A special time for reflection, 72-minute cycle. It's the...
Mitlan Siwat.
Yep.
Mitlan Siwat.
Mitlan Siwat.
Mitlan Siwat, yeah. So this particular space and time is governed by that energy. Is that what you're saying?
At this moment that we're here.
Yes.
At this moment that we're here. And under there also says which of the 4 day signs that were under there. It says the minutes of... Under Mitan Siwat, it says in the minutes of
18-minute cycle of all the water or growth.
Okay, there's the water. See, so right now we just began that whole segment. It's gonna go water, dog, monkey, herb, and this whole thing's gonna move, and no one comes in. So we have this thing moving on this cosmic clock time. Wow. So that's why we call it astronomical calendrical map and cosmic clock. Okay. A map to tell you where you could be getting to, and a clock to get you there on time.
Right.
You know. So that's where we're at today, and today we're Day of the Crocodile, like we said before. So right below that, Day of the Crocodile, see, and its guide, Tonalmachiotl. We're in this 13-day cycle right there of the reed that we saw, that we spoke about. Right, and this must be the night companion tonight, Mitlan Tekuti. Very nice. Very nice. Mictlan, the guide of
so he will be guiding the whole entire night?
As soon as it got dark, he comes to play. Okay. Until sunrise.
Wow. That's cool.
That's his mission. Oh, I was gonna say about that. You know, when the chroniclers were writing, the Europeans, you know.
Right.
You know, because how do we get all this information? Because there's little pieces of truth in a lot of things everywhere, but they couldn't catch the whole concept. But nonetheless, they would say, these people are so strange. They worship the sun even at nighttime, in the quarters and the pieces thereof. So they're talking about segments and stuff like that, you know. So
the quarters and the pieces thereof.
The quarters of the days and the pieces thereof. And then somebody would say, they say that the year begins at sunrise, and then somebody, they say it begins at noon. They say it begins at sun. Well, guess what? They can't be all right. No, yeah, they're all right. You know what I mean? And the year of the house begins at midnight. The year of the rabbit at sunrise. The year of reed at noon. The year of the flint at sundown. What are they doing? Simple. Just waiting another quarter of a day before they begin counting again. You know, the whole solar year. Very simple. No leap year. You know, so that's why it's considered the most precise calendar. You know. So,
absolutely.
And why don't we use it? I think we do.
We do.
2021, we begin.
Yes.
So today, the year 9 crocodile, the first day of the calendar, 20-day cycle. So today, everybody write that down. 9 crocodile.
9 crocodile.
Wow.
Tomorrow 10 win.
10 win.
And we just keep walking.
Until 13 or till 20?
It'll go to 13.
Okay.
And so tomorrow's 10 win, 13, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's going to go up to 13 serpent, okay? And then it'll be one skull, okay? And it'll start the cycle, the 13-day cycle of the skull, okay?
So you just count
up to 13?
Up to 13 here, and then 13 here.
Right.
And then it'll start 1 here.
No.
Or whatever.
Count it. 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
All right, then it'll be 1 rain.
1 rain.
Yeah, then it'll go 13.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Then 1 herb. There you go.
Ah.
Okay, and that's how they all do. Until all of them have got to be number 1, right? Lead. Okay.
Oh, until we get to flower.
Right. So,
no, wait.
Yeah, so they're leading, right? So right now the reed is the first one reed, and it's leading the 13-day cycle. So today's the crocodile, but it's still got the energy of the reed, because that's leading the cycle. Okay? And tomorrow the wind with the energy of the reed. In other words, it keeps adding. So in other words, there's just so many things happening. Okay? Right now we saw the 18-minute piece of time of the water.
Right.
That's an 18-minute segment of time.
Right.
Remember, we have 80 of them in a day. Wow. So we have 80 pieces of 18 minutes in a day. Wow. That's a lot of time, man. We can do many things in 18 minutes.
And if we harness the 18-minute energies in 18-minute increments, we can I'm going to read this real quick. 18 minutes.
Exactly.
I'm going to wash the dishes.
Or when you do a show. Don't let me, but other people, Nah, I'm just kidding. 18 minutes. A conference, 18 minutes. 72 minutes for the big conference, 18 minutes a piece, In other words, there's many ways we can work around this.
Right.
And then when you get to the point of creativity, activity, reflection during the day, I mean, as you know, we're going to go on and on, but we don't want to go on and on because time is on our side.
Well, I don't want to go on and on because I want you to take stuff away from it. Today was the introduction. We weren't supposed to get a sophisticated breakdown of anything today. We're just going to introduce ourselves to key elements that we can take home, practice, rewatch the episode, and apply it to your life. I apologize for not being reading quickly, but we don't need to be worried about that stuff. Just do your best, like our Toltec grandfathers. Tie time. Today is 9 crocodile. We're tying that time today because today's the first day of a new cycle.
That's right. Doso
stontly. And they have energy. So as we grow this, whatever these segments are, I'm sure Uncle and I will figure out an organized fashion to distribute this information consistently. You got to do your part and get the book and get the poster, because he told you you're not going to get it, and that's given to you, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give it back to you. We're trying to fulfill the prophecies of our great abuelos. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to give the last words to my uncle, Mazatzin. You close out the episode, Uncle, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my yolo that you're vital, you're important, and you deserve everything that comes to you.
Okay, well, same to you, and more, and more of it.
Oh.
Yes, totally. So, okay, it's simple to follow. If we start at the beginning.
Yes.
Okay, and so today's the beginning, okay, right? So today's the beginning of a 20-day cycle, So let's start there.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what crocodile means, the beginning of evolution.
Right.
So we're gonna begin this. I want to say too also that one time my grandmother told me that I was not a revolutionary because I was a re-evolutionary. Okay, and I believe that's where we got to go to. So we're about re-evolution.
Yes.
We're not necessarily about revolution the way it appeared before.
Right.
I love Che. I love Che Guevara, one of my favorite heroes. Named my son after Che. And of course Pancho Villa, and I had the honor to meet one of his sons, who actually lived in Oakland, California. El hijo de Pancho Villa, Ernesto Nava Villa. Okay. Wow. I also met Emiliano Zapata's daughter, his daughter, you know. And so I've been very honored to meet, you know, all these people. But Pancho Villa, Zapata, Che Guevara, if they were here with us today, they would not be doing what they did back then, but they will use that heart and that mind and that smarts, you know, to find out how to do it now, right? Whatever it takes, you know. Okay, and that's what I want to come to that point, because sometimes when we look at it and we respect and honor our heroes and things like that, you know, a lot of times we got to think about them now. You know, what would they do in this place? You know,
right?
You know, and if they were in my shoes, what would I do in their shoes? And so anyway, I want to bring that to, you know, to bear on us today, because I also got to give thanks to all those maestros, you know, that crossed our path, you know, crossed my path, and shared, you know, like we're sharing here today, and just for the same purpose that we want the resurgence of Anáhuac. We want it to come back again. We all want it, you know, but it won't come back just for me. It can't come back just for me, because that sun shines on everybody. So I want that sun to be dignified to return, and so I got to do my part, okay? And I also want to, you know, send the condolences to the people still today suffering from the coronavirus, you know, throughout the world, right? And in our pueblo as well. I know things are getting much better, but nonetheless, we're going to be careful still. And I want to send condolences to those people who have not been able to receive all the help and health.
Yeah.
So, I think finally, I want to say, Tlazocamatli, we miak.
Thank you. Tlazocamatli, Uncle.
Thank you.
And thank you, LA Natives. We'll see you next Sunday.
Armando, Tlazocamatli, 0